Pisco is running the standard defense that you would run if you were a tanky trying to subvert and take over the Democratic Party, right? You're worried about us taking over? We have like 3 seats, maybe? What about AOC and Bernie Sanders? They haven't done anything crazy, right? In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Asana said something akin to this on his stream.
That's not the question. The question is, are you applying the same standard of existential threat? Someone whose
me
popularity is
saying
so low,
no.
like Biden,
That's not the question now, but they can always ask the hypothetical of like, would you vote for AOC or JD Vance? Would you vote for hypothetical? By the way, for all the people that got mad at me for an extended consideration of like, well, if AOC was the leader of like a communist party of the United States, she would vote. Damn, I don't know, right? Everybody got mad at me for saying that, and Pisco thinks it's such a killer argument. The other side already says that they wouldn't support Gavin Newsom over JD Vance, which should be a much easier yes.
Many of them, maybe even the people in charge of their platform, maybe even the people who are in charge of leadership of this organization, do want to like disfigure the Democratic Party and take over or whatever. So that's not inconsistent with a position that they're not in a position to do that. And so I don't see an inconsistency.
It must be that they're more left-leaning than they let on.
Okay, that's like you got the NPR tote bag, the C-SPAN hat, and then you're going through Whole Foods and picking up all the 40-year-old single moms, right?
Hell yeah.
Ooh.
You say 40-year-old single mom is like, dude, 40-year-olds are smoking hot at my age. Okay.
That was not a pejorative. All right, that was like, hell yeah, guy, you get those single moms. You're cougar hunting. I'm just saying, in the Bay Area, you got a whole buffet next to the Whole Foods buffet. If you're,
I really don't appreciate this objectification thing that you have going on. It's not very progressive.
I'm starting my misogyny arc. I'm sorry. What's going on, guys? How's democracy doing this week?
We're succeeding. We're succeeding as a democracy. We are functional. We're not going to go into further war with Iran, and everything is going well. The Democrats are doing fine.
Based.
Well, I would point to Troy Jackson as a success of democracy this week, that we were able to pick someone to replace Graham Plattner without shedding tears and anyone getting upset, I think, right? It was pretty flawless.
Pretty ideal outcome to pick somebody that's close.
Wonder why? Why were we able to pick Troy Jackson and not everybody was upset?
Because that's their guy.
Yes, exactly. Because Democrats realized that, well, we got to pick somebody. But because the progressives got their guy, all that talk. Sorry, hold on. I'm just about to lose my fucking mind. All that talk. What's the word? I'm thinking of a word right now, Moot. It's the C word. You know what the C word is? By any chance? You know what the C word I'm thinking of is? The C word I'm thinking of is?
Capitulation?
No. They said this about...
Cock.
They said this about Kamala over and over and over again. Coronation. They coronated her. Oh. She was just anointed. She just became the candidate. And it was like literally the downfall of fucking democracy. It was like the worst possible fucking thing in the world to these motherfuckers. But when it's their guy...
they were the ones who were begging Biden to drop.
Well, yeah, but they were saying they wanted an open primary. That would have been the fair thing, was an open primary, an open primary, an open primary. And when you say, it's like, well, I don't really know if we had the time left for that, dog. Like, shit was kind of like down to the wire there. They don't care. There needed to be an open primary. But now that it's their guy, well, I mean, what are we going to do? We got to be reasonable, right? The ticket's going to close. No, not a single complaint from any of these people. It wasn't democratic, but, you know, whatever.
Closer to his politics, but apparently he's not squeaky clean either. I don't know. I saw some rumblings of some Oppo research or whatever, but we'll see.
Well, I don't know if you guys saw the thumbnail, but past, skeletons in the closet, he did campaign with Graham Plattner. So
what?
Well, but just before you guys get into the person, I would say the process was pretty smooth. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, there wasn't some like big like, oh, this is a subversion of democracy. They're anointing a thing. The guy stepped down. They had to do something quick. And it seems like everyone's kind of on board now.
I wonder why.
To this day, I hear people crying about Kamala being picked, and democracy was eroded because of that process, which I think is concern trolling from right wingers mostly.
Agreed, 100%. I think that there's a process, and with any of these situations, we have a right to push for someone to drop out, whether it's Joe Biden because he fucked up a debate, or whether it's Graham Plattner. And it's not like there's anything inconsistent with...
Pisco was 100% consistent on this also. I don't think Pisco was one of the people who... actually, Pisco made some of the strongest arguments, I think, in terms of the people that were crying about the process not being followed or whatever. So Pisco was not one of the people who was crying about the lack of election rules being followed or whatever, lack of democracy.
Pushing those candidates out, especially when we're the ones who nominated them.
Well, so he's also leading in like that. I saw the University of New Hampshire poll. He's already leading Collins, which was very surprising to me, of this guy who has not campaigned at all for this position, kind of gets slotted in last minute, and everyone's already just kind of on board. So I guess he's just generic Democrat. He might as well be. He's got good policies and all that, but people are just like, whatever, as long as it's not Collins. It makes me question, why do we even have campaigns? We should just like say go, like 24 hours before the vote. It's like, all right, Democrat or Republican, just go.
It's
something I never heard of. Yeah.
I think it's consistent with the polls that were happening right before Plattner dropped out, because those polls I saw a generic Democrat starting to poll better than Plattner was. So, seems consistent on that front.
Eric for the presidential. He seems like really, really strong.
No shot.
Who?
That fucking
Generic?
Eric Trump. Oh,
Oh.
he said generic. I thought he was saying Eric, like Eric Trump was strong. Okay.
Yeah.
Joe Generic. Yeah, Joe Generic is
Okay,
my
sorry.
candidate of
Democrat.
choice.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I think you guys nailed it. Like, generic Democrat does very well against Susan Collins, and Troy Jackson at this point is a generic Democrat. No offense meant by that. But
Well, what-
if
Wait,
you're
who's a
surprised,
generic?
I think you guys nailed it. Like, generic Democrat does very well against
Troy
Susan
Collins.
Collins, and Troy Jackson at this
Oh.
point is a generic Democrat. No offense meant by that. But
Well, what-
he seems just fine.
What do you guys make of the generic ballot tightening a bit in the last month or so? Are you worried about that? You think it's just polling noise?
Yes, I'm worried. I think that there are reasons for us to be concerned. And again, that the margin of victory that we need to obtain isn't just a sneaker. Did I just say something offensive? No. All right. Holy crap. I was like, did I just say a slur? My bad. No, and so like I am concerned by it. I think that this race, the generic ballot, should be like plus 10, plus 11. Now there was a poll, I think it came out from Emerson or something, guy.
Yes.
I don't know if you could talk more about that. That was a really, really good poll. And that gave me some hopium. But yeah, I'm not resting on my laurels. I don't think that this is in the bag.
Well, you're talking about an Emerson poll that came out a few days ago. I had to Google it now just to make sure which org it was. But Democrats hold an 11-point lead over GOP on generic ballot. And I think there was a Fox News poll that came out last week as well that showed a 7-point lead for the Democrats, which feels more in line with where we should be at. So there was one that came out that showed like a 4-point lead for the Democrats, and I think that's what raised the alarm. But since then,
Do you ever regret being the honest guy? There have been a very few moments in life that have like truly tested me in terms of my personal beliefs or whatever. I would like to think that I would always choose to be the honest guy. The issue is that like I've suffered penalties for being the honest guy in my career, but like my lifestyle is pretty simple and I've always made enough money to be like fine. So I don't know. Like it's when it comes to taking like certain types of sponsors that people might think are super unethical, or when it comes to selling out in terms of holding your tongue or biting your tongue or whatever and working with some people, there have been I've never had to make like a really hard choice like that. So I would like to think I would make the right choice, but what are you gonna do?
we've had these two good polls from solid polling orgs that show Democrats are doing great.
I feel like Emerson's been juicing the Democratic Party to the tits and polling pretty consistently, but I could be wrong about that.
Haven't
guys-
heard that
do-
complaint before.
Do you guys think that the generic ballot is tightening because DSA members keep going on Fox?
No.
No, I think it has to
Think about
do. No, I
You see the
think
video from Professor Dave? Yeah, I'll probably watch out for this one.
it's just Trump. Like, I think when the soldiers died, that kind of got people to rally behind him a little bit. Things like it kind of took away the sting from the war for a minute. And also, the ceasefire brought the price of oil down right away. It came down precipitously, and gas followed as well. It's back up now. So I think it kind of made sense that it tightened up a bit, but it's only going to get worse, I think, from here on out for him.
I mean, I don't literally think
I hate the American political memory is so short. I'm just so annoyed that, and it sucks too because like you need to be cognizant in the big picture of like what it is exactly that you're wishing for. Like it's a little dark to be like, I hope that America sucks shit so that we win the next election, right? That's not really like you don't really want to be occupying that position. It's kind of fucked up. But then also it's like, are we really going to go through all this fuck shit and then the war with Iran is going to kind of simmer and then gas prices are going to go back down and then affordability is going to get better and then everybody's going to forget everything that happened? Like that's also not good. Like, ugh.
it's because DSA is going on Fox, but I do worry about like the conflict within the party right now. Because right now, like I feel like the big stories over the last month or two have been these really contentious primaries in Michigan, which is only ratcheted up after the scrutiny is off of Maine a bit. And obviously Platinum with Maine was like a huge national story. So I don't know. I think it's a combination of a lot of different factors, but I do think the infighting is not helping things at the moment.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know if you guys all saw the DSA co-chair on Fox, but like, holy terrible fucking optics, Batman. Like you go on and they're just like, all right, we're going to read all the scariest things that Fox News will hate, like all the viewers will hate, and give you just don't explain any of it, even if it has an explanation. Just say yes or no to all of them. They Pisco'd this woman. And it's just
sorry,
like,
guys,
abolish the
stop that
Senate. Yes. Abolish prisons. Yes. And it's like, okay, just like might as well say like, destroy America. Yes. Like that was fucking terrible. So that, Hutch, I think there's some credibility that maybe there were some disaffected Republican voters who are now like, oh, wait a minute, that's our opposition. Like, let's go vote. That absolutely could be the case. So
Maybe, but I mean, I think the amount of people that will influence their vote in the midterms, as opposed to the economy, the war in Iran, those kind of things are like the big ticket items. And I think the concerns about socialism taking over the Democratic Party are much further back. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's how I feel.
It's obviously unquantifiable, but we know pretty much for a fact that the perception that the Democratic Party is too extreme has hurt them electorally. We know that the excesses of the left.
One of the big issues, there's something called a slippery slope, okay? People use this incorrectly all the time. There's like a slippery slope and there's a slippery slope fallacy. Much the same, there's an appeal to authority and then there's an appeal to authority fallacy, right? It's not always a fallacious thing to talk about a slippery slope. I've given these examples before. You know, your kid is supposed to go to bed by 7 or 8 for school, and then, you know, the next day he's like, can I please do 8:30, and then he's like, next week, and he's like, maybe 9 or 9:30, right? It's like a slippery slope. You're like slowly kind of like being lax and lax on some boundaries, and then eventually, you know, you're at some place you never would have been in the initial stage if you could have stopped it right then, right? The issue when it comes to this like socialist stuff that we're talking about, like, is there going to be a socialist takeover? The reason why I'm worried about that, why I don't feel like that's just a engagement in slippery slope, is because I just don't see any backstop anywhere ever. Like, nobody seems to be able to say no ever to these people. So that's what makes me worried. And it's like, okay, well, if nobody can say no now, when this is when it would theoretically be easiest to say no, why would I have any confidence that any of these people are going to say no in the future? That's always the scariest part to me. And like every conversation I have, especially because I've seen even people like Josiah kind of get pulled further and further in this direction of like, it's not that big of a deal, or it's not going to be that scary, or it's not, you know, these people are just going to lose power. Who cares? Nothing bad will happen anyway. Like, I don't know. It's a little worrying to me, but no, we're past a little worrying. But I also think like I'm very impersonal with everything. And sometimes maybe I shouldn't be, but like, I think for people like me, even for people like Hutch, I think you would have an excuse to just personally hate these types of people, given the behavior that Hassan is engaged in, given that Hassan is the largest streamer, maybe not like nationally recognized that well, but he's the largest streamer of the far left, and he's engaged in mass harassment campaigns. Like, these are just like facts, right? These are factual things. You watch that Bad Empanada video. I didn't notice this, but somebody sent me screenshots the other day. He didn't just watch that Bad Empanada video. He was literally scrolling Bad Empanada tweets with all those doxes as well on his stream on Twitch. So it's like, even if you want to say that, like, well, politically it's not that big of a threat, okay, fine. But we still have, like, we could have like a personal reason to hate this guy, you know? And it's, I don't know, whatever.
Left in 2020 probably cost us House seats. And so I don't think it's a stretch to say that the recent success by these DSA members might be turning some voters off.
It might be. It also might not be.
Someone in the chat said there might be quantifiable evidence that you're right, Hutch. So I'm waiting for them to deliver that. For now, we can pretend we're all right.
Well, I think that this is just kind of...
Is this really socialism? Aren't these people farther left than socialists and using the label of socialism to say mask on? I don't know if you're European, if you're American, but there's like these weird... The problem is there's a lot of ambiguity around this. I think a lot of people, in my limited experience, even Europeans, funnily enough, like use socialism as just like social programs, kind of. But the DSA types, especially the leadership people, these people are like the subversive socialists. They're not just like, I want to expand government programs. They have like a whole... There's like socialism as like a political theory, and then there's like socialism, or no, there's like socialism as like an economic theory, I guess, and then there's like socialism as like a political program, political theory. And I feel like they're very much on the political program theory thing. A lot of European socialist parties moderated to welfare parties. Basically, that's where the association comes from. Yeah, that's my feeling when I talk to European people, is that a lot of them are just like, oh, socialist is like when the government does stuff. Unironically, what Americans used to think. But now the DSA types are on that. They're on that weird shit.
Filling a temporary void, this drama, this debate, because we're 300 days from the midterms as of yesterday. There's nothing else going on. And so these are the primaries. This is where you duke it out. So it's front and center. But I think with big wins in the midterms, which I anticipate, I hope, it's, you know, anything can happen. But let's say Democrats do very well in the midterms, win the House, maybe even the Senate. I think those concerns about DSA taking over the party and the extremism die down very quickly, because they will probably have a total of 5 members out of, let's say, 225. So it's like 2%. And it's a small voice that doesn't even have a large enough block to do anything. I'm not trying to diminish them
Sweeper
or
alert.
make fun of them. Well, I'm not trying to like put them down. I think AOC is a member of DSA and Rashida Tlaib, and I don't think anybody out there would be upset.
Maybe I need to do more homework or research into what AOC is saying or what AOC's positions are, but AOC in my mind is very separated from Ilhan Omar, I believe, and Rashida Tlaib. I see both of those two, I think, make really extremely out there statements sometimes. I don't feel like I see AOC say these statements as much, but maybe she does and she's just not as front and center anymore. But
AOC was kicked out of the national DSA. She's still in the New York one.
Really? Wait, when? Like actually kicked out, or was it like she didn't like declare something or form or like pay her dues or?
No, it was like if you don't A, admit to not giving funds to Israel, and B, like some other thing, then you're gone.
Damn. Why not just refer to Hassan explicitly as a communist, Maoist, or just terrorist supporter? I feel like when you just refer to him as socialist or leftist, you kind of launder his reputation and lump him in implicitly. It's hard. The problem is like all these terms, some people have abused them on the offensive side, conservatives, by calling everybody a fucking socialist. So it doesn't mean anything before. And now the lefties, the socialists, are abusing it on their side and using it as cover for more moderate people. So it's just like, it's cringe.
About AOC being a part of our party. So this is why I keep saying, let's give them a chance and let's see what happens. But in the end, they're going to be a very small voice. And if Democrats are in control of the House, people are going to be way more focused on the investigations and what they're doing and stuff like that.
Give them a chance? You mean just like Hindenburg gave Hitler a chance? That's how it's.
See, it's just like, it's so crazy that it's just, I don't know. I will say, I hope I'm super wrong. I hope that, in a couple of years, they just like fizzle out and they're nothing. But like, if on the trajectory they're at right now, in 2 years, it'll be an unkillable cancer. Like, if they were to expand their lead to, 15 seats or whatever, that's just like, it's Jesus Christ. I don't know. Ugh.
Starts guy, you know that, right?
Wow.
That's
I don't even know what seats they would go for, but I don't know. That would just be not good.
I said about Trump too. Well, I just want to say, like, yeah, I think that Guy has pointed to several politicians who have insanely cringe statements in the past. AOC said, abolish prisons, abolish the police. I think that sometimes they have taken some votes that are cringe on the Bipartisan Infrastructure Act. Rashida Tlaib on Ukraine funding, I definitely don't agree with. But oftentimes these are like signaling votes that aren't like the dispositive vote for the Democratic agenda, and there's enough wiggle room that they're not like scuttled.
Somewhere in 2015, you could find Republicans laughing at MAGA and Trump, thinking they'd be 5 seats too. Those people existed in 2016. Those people existed like up until there were like 4 people left in the primary, and it was like what, Rubio, Cruz, Kasich, I think, and then
Yep, Miss Casing.
And then Trump. You're like, wait a second. They're like, hold up, let me catch up on my TTSs.
Metalite sword here. Any chance I could get you to say it's coming home, coming in to me?
Why is this
Hello?
Jader, that can't be a
Goodbye.
fucking sound. The joint sound.
Steven Destiny, great guy, short, very short. They're saying 5'4", I've heard worse.
What a fucking liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. What a fucking Weasley little liar, dude. Holy shit, dude. Holy fucking shit, dude. Literally lying, still lying to his audience.
Sex cult bullshit. I haven't even lost my virginity yet.
Forcing.
Okay.
Obama.
Jesus. Stop. Jader, I swear to fucking God.
Settling something, and in general, I think that they have moderated. Now, if that's sweeping, okay, here's the broom. I guess I'm sweeping. I just don't think that I think people are playing up the success of the DSA and like downplaying huge moderate success in Virginia, moderate success in New Jersey, other moderates who won in New York, in Illinois, right? So this is not some, in my view, existential extinction event, and it's something to keep an eye on if people get too weird and tanky. But I just think people have been taking it out of proportion in like our spaces.
Well, I mean, not just our spaces. I mean, we know the right-wing playbook. They're going to try to paint the entire Democratic Party like, DSA represents the future of the party. They're doing that for I think, a couple of reasons. Number one, to freak out like the median voter, but also to foment division within the party. And it's going to work. You know what I mean? Like, they are liabilities in that way. And it is a liability to the Democratic Party, I think, when DSA goes on Fox News. And I don't really know how to explain that beyond just pure hubris. I mean, I think that they think that the wind is at their back and, they got all the momentum. And I feel like they genuinely think that they can like convince a lot of geriatric Fox News viewers that they're secret socialists. And I don't know if you guys saw, but one of the deflections that they're using is that's a long-term goal. There were 2 different DSA members that did Fox News interviews. And when they were pressed on like
I wish the video didn't private last night because this would trigger. Wait, is there some part of it that's privated or
radical stuff like prison abolition or getting rid of like border enforcement altogether? Both of them were like, well, that's a long-term goal. We're not going to, which I don't really understand is like a deflection. Like, how is that supposed to make me feel better? Like, oh, okay.
Yeah. It's like, we'll do the thing you hate, but, just so you know, we need to entrench our power for decades to do it. Well, what's stupid about it, Hutch, though, is that, let's say I've had people explain to me abolish prisons in a way I'm like, oh, maybe I get what you're saying, which is, oh, you're going to move funding away from incarceration and move to a state where crime is not seen as something that needs punished, but rehabilitation, and it's like, okay, this very nuanced thing that does not come through when you say abolish prisons and does not come through when you say defund the police or any of these other like 3-word slogans that are absolutely fucking poison. But if that's the case, and you do want to do that in 20 years or 30 years,
no, but that's not.
Why the fuck are you saying it? Just go out there, say, look, I want to make people's lives better. And if you need something that's going to take 60 Senate Senate DSA members that's going to happen in 50 fucking years, then like why are you poisoning your electoral chances by saying this completely untenable out of the Overton window position now? It's ridiculous to me.
But that's not what DSA is doing. They're not talking about like the progressive lib position of diverting some of that money towards, you know, like social workers and that kind of a thing. They literally are prison abolitionists. And so like,
yeah, but what does that mean?
They mean no prisons, bro. They mean,
yeah, but what does that mean?
No,
But what does that mean? They're just like, okay, let all the criminals run free. Like
the way that the woman explained it, because the Fox News person pressed her a bit on this. Like, obviously, the first question that someone's going to be is like, what do you do with like child abusers or child rapists or whatever? And her explanation was basically that, you know, if they execute on their broader economic agenda and address people's material conditions, that you could.
Yeah, this is what I don't like about a lot of lefty positions, is that the lefties want to run and they want to say like, we are, you know, this is what we're offering, okay? That's different from the Democratic Party. And then they'll give you the most like out there fucking takes on the planet.
Mataloid sword, GS.
No. I'm pausing this. We're done with this. They'll give you the most out there fucking takes on the planet. And then when you try to push them on like, what the fuck do you actually mean? They will retreat back to not something that's insanely milquetoast, but it's something that every Democrat agrees with anyway, right? So like this abolish the police thing, people are like, well, why don't you engage with it in good faith, okay? Like, what do you think they actually mean? And it's like, well, if you're saying that what they mean is that our current prison system isn't providing the proper support for people so that they, you know, don't go and re-engage in crime once they get out, and that we need a better way to deal with suspects, especially people having mental health issues. We need a better way to deal with I don't know, with rights for prisoners or get private prisons out of here, whatever. Like, fine, whatever you want to back it off to, or some theoretical future where we don't need these types of prisons anymore, fine. Whatever you want to back it off to, that's fine. But now you've retreated to a position that literally nobody disagrees with. I don't even know Republicans disagree with these positions. They become so milquetoast. And then so it's like you open with the radical slogan that you're using sometimes to attack other moderates. And then when you're actually pushed on what your radical slogan means, it actually isn't anything radical at all. It's just like a milquetoast position on like, man, wouldn't it be nice if like people were kind of chill and we didn't need these crazy prisons? I'm like, yeah. It's like, the fuck?
You could eliminate these. She called it crimes of poverty. And she was asked about child sexual abuse. And she was saying like, well, you know, people won't need to do these crimes of poverty.
Yeah. Noted impoverished child abuser Jeffrey Epstein wouldn't have done it if he just had a little more money.
445.
Well, Hutch, let me
ridiculous.
I took her answer a little differently. I heard her answer as most crimes are due to being impoverished and economic conditions. There will still be crimes like you described. And her answer was, I think, even worse. She said, we'll figure it out. As she would not agree to putting a person in a box for their life. She's just like, we'll figure it out.
We have concepts of a plan for child abusers.
Pretty much.
You disagree, Hutch, that she was saying maybe most crime is due to economic
Oh
conditions?
yeah. No, that's what she was saying, which is ridiculous. Yeah. It's fucking ridiculous.
So yeah, like I feel like if I read the book that these guys all base their ideology on, which is it's like the prisons for the future, or like abolish prisons. I forgot who wrote this, but it's like, okay, so you have some sort of vision for the future where you lock some people up, but it's not for punishment, it's for rehabilitation. Like there's no, I think the straw man extreme position is just let criminals run loose and kill people, but they have this like ideology of like, well, if we fix everything with communism or socialism, then there'll be way less crime, and then we won't really need to punish people, and then we'll have mental health facilities. And it's like, okay, like sure, if this is your ideal, but like we're nowhere close to that. You're not going to make it happen in 4 years or 8 or probably 20. So why are you talking about it? That's
it's just not going to happen. We were spending so much time.
Also, the vast majority of the time, federal prisons already do a lot of this. It's at the state and county level where we see most issues. Yeah, but how many people are in federal prison? Isn't it like 10% of people? I think the vast majority of people are in state stuff, right?
Worrying about it. Yeah, maybe it does mean that they have bad judgment, like grant it. But I think that it's just stupid and it's not going to happen.
Wow, Pisco. Well, if I were her, I would go on Fox and I would say I'm a big fan of the movie Minority Report, which takes place in 2054, and the precogs will be able to predict crime, and so we won't need prisons because we'll be able to anticipate any violent crimes, and we'll eliminate the rest through increasing people's economic material conditions.
Well, they still lock them up.
Maybe she's just a big fan of that movie. And by the way, that takes place in 2054. That's like 30 years from now. So maybe that's what she's talking about.
They're probably used to having these, like idealistic conversations in an academic setting, or, in social circles where it's only them hanging out with each other. But the second somebody, like a Fox News host presses them on the particulars, they just get into this like vague nonsense about systems and these things, and it just falls apart, and it just I do think it makes us look
goofy,
fucking stupid. But
yep.
Well, that's why I'm happy to see them go on Fox News and look foolish.
But the issue is that they don't look foolish to other lefties. They only make us look bad. That's it.
I think it hurts them, and they think it helps them. But I think that they're gonna try to paint the Democratic Party as being all like DSA influenced, and I think it's gonna work. And so
Hutch, they literally take like
I read that Dave's wife is Palestinian. Sorry, I know I'm going to sound like a hater. Anytime an American tells you they're Palestinian, what they're telling you is that they have some kind of like non-distinct Arab ancestry and they've been born and raised in the United States their entire life, can't speak Arabic or anything. Like 99% of the time when somebody says, "Oh, I'm a Palestinian American," they couldn't find it on a map, I promise you, okay? 99% of the time. Maybe she's the 1%, but
position that the whole Democratic Party probably is in agreement to some extent on, and make it sound bad, which is defund the Pentagon, which they're saying what we've been saying for years, which is, hey, the military industrial complex is too large. We put too much money into this. We should put money into like other social programs. So
you're doing it.
But then they're like defund the Pentagon, and then some of them are like, literally, we shouldn't have a military that goes overseas.
That's not.
So it's like
you're doing it again. It's not some of them. It's in their platform to completely dismantle the Department of Defense.
Oh, is it really like we won't have a military base?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
Avi Loeb allegedly uses anti-Semitism to deflect criticism. Yeah, he might. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, people will play into anything, but like that doesn't mean you have to be anti-Semitic, right? Like what? No.
Even more fucking
yes,
insane.
that is in their national platform.
Jesus Christ. Okay.
It's
what about that guy?
the Department of War.
Oh, that's true.
I refuse to call it the Department of War. They didn't legally change it. They couldn't legally change it, and so it's literally just a symbolic name. Department.
Loeb equals Loeb. My bad.
Department of War.
Is are we getting independence for Puerto Rico and Guam? I saw Darlisa calling for that.
No, wait, that one's a little bit sketchy, right? Because they take the view that like America is this imperialist kind of like abuser of Puerto Rico, and that it's like self-determination for Puerto Rico. Now, I kind of agree that there should be like a referendum or something, and so I'm not even like necessarily against it. But there are plenty of people, and this is by the way includes in Puerto Rico on the left, who would just sooner have independence from America.
I thought when they vote, it's like 90% want to be in the state, right?
I don't think it's 90%.
Something high, right?
I don't know.
Like
I think
something last referendum.
It's literally.
Sorry. Only 10% want independence, so 90% don't want independence. But yes, not 90% want to have statehood. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that. Yeah.
Well, there's an argument for it. My understanding is they believe they'll lose their culture if they become a state. That they'll lose their who they are independently of the United States.
Yeah, I'm cool as long as they like. I actually do agree that there should be a referendum. There should be some vote. There should be some process. It shouldn't just be like statehood without consent kind of deal. I do agree with that, but it's just not. There's a significant amount of sentiment on the left that would prefer independence of Puerto Rico as opposed to statehood. That's why I don't think it's like a foregone conclusion that they would just push for statehood. Now, I think Puerto Rico should become a state, but I also think that there should be a referendum. It's kind of like, I wouldn't vote for Brexit. I also wouldn't want a Brexit referendum. That was a bad comparison. You guys can move on.
Pisco, you ended up in an impromptu fucking 2 a.m. debate last night. How did that even?
Well,
how
2
did that
a.m.
even
for you.
happen? Yeah.
So I was
It was everyone but me and Hutch, actually. It was almost a Lib and Learn episode. Should have also jumped
Wait,
in.
Guy, were you?
Yeah.
Did you jump in that debate
you
too?
did.
And Josiah was there?
Like 2 hours, yeah.
I didn't hear the whole
And
thing.
you were there, and you were there. So yeah, so how that got started was my internet was spotty. I fixed it just now, so we're good. And someone had added me under a Josiah post. Josiah was like critiquing this woman on the DSA Fox News. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even watch the clip. And someone added me and was like, I think Pisco's view is he thinks that all of these people should be in the coalition. And I like don't know. I like have this perennial issue that people are just vague and I'm sorry it pisses people off. They don't explain what they mean by in the tent, in the coalition, and that caused a bunch of problems. And so I opened it up just to cure his confusion. I cured his confusion, and then some other people started joining. Then Josiah joined, and then it just snowballed after that. But that's what occurred. Some random person added me, and this occurs a lot. And I think it goes to my good faith is I'm willing to engage with all these people and offer my view. But instead, people just lie about my beliefs and say that I'm, I believe things I don't believe. But ultimately, I think we got through our view, Josiah and I.
Should we watch just a little bit of this? Because I think people should deserve some context. I want to show a little bit of this Fox clip.
Okay, go.
All right. This is the DSA's radical agenda that threatens America. So let's see how she handled this. Oh, hold on.
True. Okay. Give me sort of a true or false on these. Abolish the Senate. True. Okay. Replace the presidency and Supreme Court as we now know them. Abolish ICE.
How do you not immediately gotcha questions? Like, you probably have a nuanced position on this. And she's like, oh, replace the presidency? Oh, yeah, true. Okay, good.
Absolutely. Abolish borders and give amnesty to anyone currently in the U.S. illegally.
Here it comes. Here it comes.
As a long-term plan, yep.
There it is. Yeah.
Defund the Pentagon. Absolutely. Abolish prisons, at least in large part.
Wow, she gave her a little charitable
again,
thing there.
as part of a long-term program, yeah. Okay, so no prisons. Government or public ownership of most large corporations. Yeah, absolutely. Hello and welcome, everyone.
Like, holy bad optics. Like,
That's awful.
It's not. I love you. You're my boy. It's not bad optics. It's bad ideology. It's a rotten ideology. It's a stupid ideology.
I want to abolish the Senate. It's completely disrepresentative of the country. I don't like the idea.
That's like the one thing that I think is fine. But it is radical. Like I would never honestly like push the Democratic Party to take that position. But privately,
I'm not in favor of abolishing the Senate. I just want it to be the population.
That's
of the Senate.
bad. That's called abolishing the Senate and making it
No,
just
it's
a House
not.
piece.
You still have an upper chamber, and you have a lower
Whatever.
chamber. They're elected differently. Don't. Oh yeah, me soy pill, you motherfucking sweeper. No, like, listen, a lot of these, some of these are bad ideas, some of these are bad explanations. I agree with abolish ICE. I don't agree with no borders or whatever these sentiments are. But just to be clear, yeah, this is a bad clip, and yeah, a lot of these ideas are stupid.
Well, I think Hutch hit the nail on the head. They're just going to lean on long.
There's like an essentialist thing that happens. How to explain it? But like every bad thing that the DSA does is like a side effect. Like that's a bad thing, or this is a bad clip, or it's a whatever. But they never view it as like, well, this is what they are. This is the platform. Like it's not like there's a random errant DSA member, you know, that ran off and said this random thing. This is like core to their platform and ideology. But
long term for everything. Well, long term, the Democratic Party right now wants universal health care, and we'd love to have very few people in prison because we have rehabilitated people or we've kept them out of jail because we've improved their lives. I mean, it's the Department of Corrections, you know, it's like we don't want people unnecessarily in prison. And would we love to get rid of borders? Sure, I'd love to live in some utopia where you can just travel freely like Europe or whatever, but you know, these are very long-term plans. So it just seems almost unfair for them to be able to take that position and be like, yeah, but those are very long-term plans.
Yeah, imagine if like when like one or two MAGA candidates got elected and they went on, I don't know, MSNBC and said, yeah, we want a theocratic fascist like state, and long term we are going to do mass deportations. It's like, whoa, all right, like hey, maybe you do want that long term, maybe you shouldn't do that on TV in front of everyone.
Well, they should just add like puppy for every household in America. You know, like why not just add it there? Like, yeah, that'd be awesome. Everybody has a puppy in America.
Yeah. Or what's the it's puppy for
I don't want a
everyone or
puppy.
diarrhea forever, which unironically is now the case with like all the lettuce stuff. So
I don't want a puppy, man. Puppies are.
unless the clip champs have timestamps for you, the video is literally the worst watch of all time. The first hour only mentions you once. Well, that's okay. It's good to always do our Israel-Palestine slap.
Hard, man. They destroy shit.
Free kitten
Kitten
and
I'll
all
do.
the
Hutch,
and all
we
the
know
resources.
you drink the expired coffee. You do want diarrhea forever instead of the puppy. That's your position.
Oh,
I don't.
God.
I hate diarrhea. It's the worst.
Pet care for all and a free kitten or puppy for anyone who wants it.
Yo,
So you don't,
pet
you're
care,
not gonna be
universal
set
pet
back.
care is sick.
Universal pet care. Yeah, I mean, might as well just add all these things. I think that's why I don't mind these guys going on Fox and doing interviews, because it just exposes like how ridiculous it all is, you know. And like now they have to actually back it up. Like, okay, well, how do we get there? And they're not going to have any idea.
Well, I know El Sayed's not officially DSA, but we got this Michigan Senate race next week, and man, that race got so heated. Like it's getting so heated.
Yeah.
Whitmer, out of nowhere, that's a huge endorsement to get. The endorsement of the sitting governor, who as I understand, I think Whitmer has God tier numbers in Michigan, right? Isn't she like really popular?
She's top 10 governor in the nation with her approval ratings.
Right.
And yeah, very popular.
But I'm hearing whisperings that the 3% Michigan militia is going to endorse El Sayed. So we'll see if that kind of balances
Wow.
out the scales.
That's big. That's big.
I think Gary
Yeah,
Peters
well,
endorsed Stevens as well, right?
Yep, the
Gary
outgoing
Peters.
senator, Gary Peters, Debbie Stabenow, the former senator replaced by Alyssa Slotkin, the sitting attorney general, Dana Nessel, you know, starting to add up these endorsements.
Yeah, but we got the Pisco endorsement for El Sayed and Elizabeth Warren, so that
Ooh.
should carry him through.
Well, that's the thing, is like the endorsements for El Sayed are like outsiders. No offense, but like
Yeah, non-Michigan or
Bernie,
natives.
AOC, you know.
Pisco, Bernie, AOC, yeah, and then you got all these insiders who from Michigan. But El Sayed does have the auto workers union, which is very
That's
interesting.
big. Yeah.
That is big.
I do love her voice.
Do you think the DSA types are being funded in the same way Trump and his allies were? Well, Trump just raised a lot of money off of small dollar donos. You can raise a lot of money off of small dollar donos if you've got a crazy population that's willing to endorse some crazy shit. I haven't looked this claim up. Can somebody just look this up for me so I don't have to do this? There's been a claim given a lot by Haley Stevens that El Sayed is getting money from Republicans, that MAGA is like trying to fund his campaign in the primary because they think they'll beat him more in the general than they would Stevens. Is that true? Is there like a source for that? Source me that.
Voice. I don't know why people like shitting on Haley Stevens' voice. It really is. I think I'm just gonna be honest. I think a lot of people online just hate women. They hated when McMorrow was dancing. They hated the joy of Kamala dancing. I just don't get it.
There was that clip of TMZ they interviewed her, Stevens, really quickly, and I found her charming, man. I really did. And I don't know about the strategy of.
Careful! Don't say you can't say she's growing on me because that means you're literally an Israeli paid shill or something. Careful! Somebody said NRSC has been running this ad in Michigan to boost him. What is NRSC? The National Republican Senatorial Committee.
Meet Abdul El Sayed.
I'm the only person on the stage who said, and have the courage to say that we gotta apologize.
And that's not all. Abdul campaigned with anti-Israel radical Hassan Piker. He called to abolish private health insurance, and he's championing socialist tax hikes with Senator Bernie Sanders.
That's why we need a Dr.
Well, this is an anti-Abdul ad, no?
Abdul El Sayed in the Senate.
Too radical for Michigan. Too radical for the U.S. Senate. Reject Abdul El Sayed.
This is not what I was talking about. But it's meant to make him more popular among Democratic voters. You think that is? Is it? I have no idea. Okay.
All collectively, making fun of the way that she sounds. Like, I think that that's just pretty bad look, like pretty bad electoral strategy.
Well, she's turned it into, they're making fun of you, Michiganders, not me. They're making fun of us.
Which is smart. That's a smart way to handle that.
That's very smart.
No.
She's a genocidal freak, but I'll endorse.
I think AOC gave another good answer, where she's like, I don't know why we're getting all this. I mean, she should know why we're getting divisive rhetoric in the primary, but she's like, whoever wins, like, we're endorsing them afterwards. And the polls are pretty close right now, right? It's like within.
Just as a quick thing, like, people keep saying this like it's just obviously true that we should fight in the primaries. But again, I don't know. For some reason, these guys, I don't know if it's intentional or not, but they pretend not to understand this. Like, there is a certain level of fighting, of course, that, we're going to have. It's primaries. They're meant to, be fighting times, unless, of course, you're fighting lefties and they get really ass-painted about it. But there's also stuff that you can't really come back from. Like, again, I think this is why I don't like, again, the genocide rhetoric. Like, calling somebody genocidal and then pretending like you're going to be able to rally your people to enthusiastically support them in the general is just not realistic.
Within like a few percentage points for either of them going against
Yeah, I've been trying to get a sense of the
Peters.
race with polls, and I have no idea who's ahead. I have no idea who's better positioned against Rogers based on polling. So
Rogers,
yeah,
because El Sayed drops they drop like 3 internals a week that have him up 15 points or something like that. They literally like drop like 3 internals a week. They've been doing that for a few weeks.
That many? 3 a week? I didn't know that.
Well, they
are flooding the zone.
They have a El Sayed plus 16 done by Fighting for Michigan PAC, and then they have El Sayed plus 13. But then there was one done by Glenn Gariff Group, sponsored by local news orgs, Detroit News, WDIV, and Stevens plus 7. So I agree. I think it's somewhere in the middle where they're probably within 4 or 5 points of each other.
I don't know. I lean on El Sayed right now. Just taking a look at some of the results on for some of these other like races in the country. It does seem like the anti-establishment wing has a ton of traction. Like, they're definitely dominating the conversation. So I definitely would not count him out.
So Hutch, what do you feel about that? What's your reaction?
I don't know. I'm kind of agnostic in that race. Like, I don't really like either of them, to be honest with you.
Really?
I mean, I like McMorrow. Yeah. I mean, I don't know if he gets elected. I do think like he's a bit of a showboat. Like, I don't know. I don't like his vibes, but I'm closer to policy on when it comes to him, like over Stevens. But I just like the way that she carries herself more. And I do think that the fact that she got the endorsements from people that are actually plugged into Michigan politics, like, I do care about that stuff as a voter. I think that stuff does matter. And so, but I really don't have like a strong preference either way.
Wow.
Yeah,
I'm surprised. I feel like I'm the only Stevens champion out there right now. I don't know, because even Josiah said he was with El Sayed last night.
He did,
so
yeah.
I was surprised to
man.
hear that. But
Oh, no.
I mean,
Josiah listens to me.
put the APAC stuff aside, which I know is hard for a lot of people, and I think she's a good candidate. I mean, she's got the experience. She's just seems like she knows what she's doing. I'm more concerned about El Sayed not being able to have the Democratic Party in Michigan coalesce around him if he wins, because he's been so nasty. Like when Gretchen Whitmer endorsed Stevens on Friday, he was like, we still got potholes that need to get filled 8 years later. And it's like, all right, bro, like you're not helping yourself here by attacking people who chose to go a different direction. It's like, you're going to need those votes and those endorsements in the general. What are you doing, man?
Dude,
So, but who have you endorsed?
I haven't endorsed either.
squeeze a lot
I'm kind of with Hutch, where I'm like, both of these people are good. Saeed's closer to my positions, but like, I'm not going to be unhappy if either of them win. That's how I felt about Shoykot and Scott Wiener here. It's just like, they're not distinguished enough. I watch these debates and I'm like, you're fighting about the two big things, which are like corporate PAC money and Medicare for all versus a public option. I'm like, I would be happy with either of these things, and I'm probably leaning more towards pushing the Overton window left. But then you also do some stupid shit, like I'm going to, because I'm an outsider, call out the governor. Like, come on. Like, I was about to ask, like, did Hochul endorse Mamdani? And I think she did, right?
She did.
Right.
She did eventually, yeah.
So it's like, I'm trying to remember because I feel like he would have had a much better response there, which is like, hey, whoever supports me, and I'm just trying to do the best. But like Saeed being like, oh, well, what? You don't even fix Michigan. It's like, okay, good job, buddy.
Wait, actually, I don't know. I don't know if Hochul endorsed her in the primary. I know she definitely endorsed her in the general, but I don't remember if she did in the primary.
You mean Mamdani?
Yeah, she definitely endorsed him, but I just don't
Mamdani
remember.
a trans woman?
I don't think so. That would be news to me.
You used a feminine pronoun for him.
Oh, did I say her?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just want
Donnie.
I want to say I will be perfectly fine with El Sayed if he wins, and I think he can beat Mike Rogers. And you're not going to hear me running my mouth about him. I'll be pointing out the positive. I'm reading his book right now, Medicare for All, just to see how he thinks we get there. For me, I think a public option is like the first step, is a step towards Medicare for All, just like Biden allowing Medicare to negotiate drug prices for the first time, along with all the Democrats voting for that, the Inflation Reduction Act. So I don't see those two as exclusive.
Well, I feel like something that we keep brushing over here that no one talks about nearly as much is like, okay, yeah, these more left-wing candidates are gaining momentum and potentially have bad optics or terrible policy, but people keep voting for them. This is happening. They're winning. Like, they're not, overwhelming the party. It's what, like 5? I know how you keep posting the meme where it's like the 2 DSA wins and he sprays himself with a bottle. It's a good meme. But it's like, how much are we going to talk about, like, if these people are so poisoned, like, why do they keep winning? Like, is it because they're fighting?
I feel like this was literally the exact opposite thing they just said, and that these people aren't threats and they're just going to disappear. Is this like are we trying to have it both ways here? I don't know.
Is it because the policies resonate more with people? Like, obviously the stuff that does suck isn't prevalent enough to drive the Democrat voters away, or they wouldn't be winning primaries. So
what I asked Pisco this last night, so I know his answer.
Josiah doesn't see AES as our enemy to our party. Wait, what is AES again? I just asked this yesterday.
Sure, but Soy Pill, have you heard of a guy named Kai Newkirk?
Is that who they're
Why do we review? Okay, gotcha.
Replacing Brylan Hollyhand with? Be really on the nose.
Kai Newkirk ran in Arizona's 4th congressional district last week in their primaries. He was supposed to be the next DSA candidate to win after that woman in Colorado's first. He got his ass kicked by 25 points. Now, the difference is his district that he ran in, Arizona's 4th, is D+4, I believe. These other DSA guys have won in D+29, literally D+32. And I was telling Pisco last night, there's only so many of those environments out there. Most districts aren't anywhere near D+30. So I think the concern that they're going to win right and left, I think it's a bit overblown. And that's why I go back to what I said at the beginning. I think they're just kind of filling a void of anything else to talk about. Sometimes we get into these conversations because there's nothing else going on. And with 100 days until the midterms, it's just kind of filling the air, in my opinion.
People are just freaking out. I like, it's so fucking annoying, honestly. How many times we have to have these conversations and these like hand wringing? These guys are not the people in charge of the DSA platform are not close to the levers of power, and they're not overwhelming our majorities. I just totally agree with Guy. I think he's absolutely right. And it was just like a few weeks ago, or I don't know, a few months ago, where people were calling out the lack of success of Mamdani in the general election against Cuomo. I think that's unrepresentative for some reasons, but fine, that was their position at the time, that they were saying that like it was moderates who were sweeping in these different places, and now all of a sudden the communists are everywhere. They're lurking behind your school. They're about to take over, and it's like, this is so disproportionate.
Yeah.
I think it's like understated and overstated at the same time, depending on who's talking about it. But
how do you figure that? What does that mean?
Well, I think it's overstated by people with a bad agenda, like Fox News. Like, they're going to overstate it for obvious reasons to try to distort perception of the Democratic Party. And it's understated by people like yourself, Pisco. Like, I think
what did I say that's understated?
Because DSA is an organization that just come out they come out and explicitly say that their goal is to basically destroy the Democratic Party. And
do you already deny that?
I think I don't know if you outright deny it, but you don't. It doesn't sound like you talk about them or treat them as they just explicitly present themselves to be. It's like you're just like, well, they say that stuff, but it's not that big of a deal. And it's like, wow,
well, there's two questions. One is like, what are their true intentions, and two, how much of a threat is it to actually like scuttle the Democratic Party? And one can have the view that many of them, maybe even the people in charge of their platform, maybe even the people who are in charge of leadership of this organization, do want to like disfigure the Democratic Party and take over or whatever. So that's not inconsistent with a position that they're not in a position to do that. And so I don't see an inconsistency. And I just see us looking at election results and noticing that, these victories don't, and many times.
I think I have to, I thought about this a lot last night, actually, because like the theory behind stuff, like what are these people thinking is actually kind of important to me. It must be that they're more left leaning than they let on, because in no other circumstance would you so willingly and happily work with somebody who's like so dedicated to your destruction. I just don't think you would. I don't know if I asked this once or twice. I should have pushed the hypothetical more when I was talking, I think, on the space. Was I asking the question of like, would you work with Nazis? If there was a Nazi that wanted to get elected and you thought they could win the election and maybe some of the electorate was moving that, would you work with a Nazi? And it seemed like the answer is always immediately no, definitely not. No, definitely not. So I feel like it's a weird, I don't know what other word to use than it's just very weird that it's like, oh yeah, we can work with these people. I'm like, who are these people? They want to kill you, but they're not strong enough to do it yet. But we can work with them. They want to kill you, but they're not strong enough yet for it. So we don't have to worry about it, but they do want to kill you. And if they can, they absolutely will, but they're not strong enough yet to worry about it. It's like, really? I don't know. It just feels so strange to me.
The victories are of people who are palatable to at least you, palatable to many Democrats, people like AOC, and so much so that when I bring up AOC as an example, they're like, "Oh, that doesn't count." Mamdani, oh, you mean the most moderate one of DSA? It doesn't count. Doesn't count. Doesn't count. And so the only people who count are the craziest concentrated like DSA members who I'll grant are fucking insane, but just have no way to get to power.
Well, Mamdani for
I also don't like this. I should use this heuristic more. Like, if you were going to try to take over a political party, right? Like, what would you do? Like, what would be like the strategy, the way to get it done, right? Well, one way would be you need to get some kind of establishment foothold. And then from that establishment foothold, then you can support your more radical elements, and then you fight from there. So when people are like, well, Mamdani's not that radical, it's like, okay, well, one, he's in a real position of power. This is an executive level position and not a legislative position. So he has to govern at least somewhat responsibly, or else New York would go to shit and it would be horrible. But also, him being more moderate there, but still identifying as a DSA member, gives him the power to support more radical people. And then the more radical people can always say, well, look at Mamdani, he's not that radical. And it's like, well, sure, but like, who's he supporting? Right? Like the people that he seemed to lend his endorsement to, at least one of these people was kind of fucking insane. And the idea that he's, well, at least as he's governing, he's not being radical. Well, sure, but he shouldn't be. That wouldn't be the strategy. You want him to be somewhat palatable so that he can continue to endorse and support insane fucking people. But then you can always point back to like, well, look, he's not that radical. And it's like, I don't know how I feel about that argument.
For example, I mean, I don't know, winning a seat in the U.S. House of Representatives, that's not nothing. I mean, their numbers are small, like I said a moment ago, but, Michigan is not a D plus 30 state. Maine is not a D plus 30 state. And Mamdani, like, he has for sure, like, optically moderated, but with his endorsements in those New York races, I think he really revealed his hand. And so, they would not have gotten over the finish line without him. Like, you don't have Daria Lisa, serving in the next Congress if he hadn't stepped in and helped her unseat an already progressive seat. And so I don't know. I find that.
I mean, I agree that Mamdani was a kingmaker in that respect. The question is one about threat and proportionality. And I also think, let's just get things off the table. So any comparison to AOC doesn't matter, right, guys? In the chat, just discount AOC, even though she's endorsed by the DSA, even though she's a standard bearer for.
So she's not. Can somebody link me that story real quick, just so I can have this? That the national level DSA, I guess, did not endorse her, or no longer endorses her, related to the Israel weapons thing.
She's a member. Maybe she's a dues paid member. I don't know. I actually don't know if she's an official member. But she certainly
she's at odds with them.
She is.
Yeah, I was going to say half of them.
I think we read this a long time ago. On Sunday, June 23rd, the DSA National Political Committee voted to endorse Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez so long as she fulfills the following conditions: publicly opposes all funding to Israel, including the Iron Dome. Jesus. Participates regularly in the DSA Federalist Socialists in Office Committee. Publicly opposes all criminalization of anti-Zionism, such as bills advancing the IHRA definition, which conflates criticism of Israel with anti-Semitism. Holy shit. Publicly supports BDS to end Israeli settler colonialism. The initial endorsement request was considered upon request of New York City DSA Steering Committee because we have not seen evidence of AOC meeting these conditions, and at the request of the New York City DSA SC, the NBC is withdrawing our conditional endorsement of Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, although she will remain endorsed by our New York City chapter. So the national level thing withdrew their endorsement ever. I don't know if this has come back. This was 2 years ago. Maybe they re-endorsed her or whatever, but...
We don't even like her, right?
So let's just get her off the table. So AOC doesn't count when we're doing this analysis. Got it. Don't bring up AOC because she moderated.
Daria Lisa.
Next up, so Mamdani. Wait. So let's just go through them. Does Mamdani count as part of our analysis for the tanky takeover? One of the more popular.
Like, it's just like the lack of. I said this earlier at the beginning of the stream. It's really a huge issue. There is a lack of meta or macro political understanding from libs, or it's an intentional subversive process. I don't know where I put. Hopefully not. But like this idea of like, okay, so right now, who counts as DSA? Like, Mamdani and AOC are not that radical. It's like, well, sure, they're not, but they're holding the door open for all of the fucking lunatics, right? That's a problem. I don't even know if he thinks it's a problem. Maybe he doesn't think it's a problem. So I don't know.
Democratic figures right now among the base. Does he count?
I mean, definitely. I think he definitely counts, but I'm not talking about like his obvious, hiding of power level moderation thing that he's doing. I'm talking about what, his direct influence in the...
You also need to understand, somebody in chat pointed this out, and it's true. You need to understand what an endorsement is. An endorsement is, you don't know this person, but you know me, okay? You know that I am credible, and you trust me. I'm going to, on loan, give some of my reputation to this person in the hopes that you'll give them a chance, and you'll see that your trust in me was not for no reason. That's what an endorsement is. So to say that like, well, these are just people he endorsed, it's not him directly, is completely missing the point of an endorsement.
Like in those races, put those candidates over the finish line. And so I don't know. That did make
someone
me
you're palatable with. So let's go through them. Is Landers?
Landers is not DSA. Landers is not DSA.
Okay, I know he's not DSA. Is he someone who you have a problem with?
No. I don't have a problem with
him. So throw him out. So AOC's thrown out. Brad Lander's thrown out. Mamdani only takes out that he's supporting candidates, but not Lander. Now we have Valdez. Okay, in virtue of what is she part of this?
She's representative of DSA. Yes, like she's in line with the organization and their stated national platform.
Her and Daria Liza, those are the two candidates. Now our population sample size is of 2, right?
No. I'm not thinking about just the politicians, though, Pisco. I'm thinking about the entire organization. I'm thinking about the fact that they passed a national platform.
I know, but that's fine. But I just want to get on the table. Who are the politicians who we're worried about the takeover coming from? So is it just those 2?
I'm not talking about individual politicians, so Pisco. I'm talking about the whole org. I'm talking about the whole org. I'm talking about their potential to.
So we're not talking about politicians. We're only talking.
Like he's running. I don't know if he's aware of it. I never know. I can't tell. But Pisco is running the standard defense that you would run if you were a tanky trying to subvert and take over the Democratic Party, right? You're worried about us taking over? We have like 3 seats, maybe? And what about AOC and Bernie Sanders? They haven't done anything crazy, right? Like what are you worried about? Like this would be completely and totally indistinguishable from the defense that Hassan Piker would run, basically. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if Hassan has said something akin to this on his stream, which should make you stop and think, I think.
Talking about the organization?
No, I said I'm not just talking about politicians.
Okay, so
you want us to restrict the conversation to just
about?
like AOC and Mamdani, but it's not just about them.
I'm literally not. I'm just trying to put on the table who are the politicians that are in the set. So
to what end, Pisco? Like, what are you trying to say? That it's too small? Like it's a movement. Like this is what I was getting at. Voters are voting for these people in safe blue districts, and if they get influence, and maybe they do moderate and hide some of the positions that they know are less palatable because they get smart. I don't know if AOC is like mask on, but if they do, and then Hutch is worried about these people like taking over and putting some of the stupider policies in place that could destroy the Democrats or literally abolish the military. Like, yeah, it's not just who's the people that won in the last.
Like this position of, he's not saying it directly, but this idea of like, well, we don't need to worry about it until they've completely taken over our party. Like, how big was the Freedom Caucus from the Tea Party? Like, it's not like I don't think they had that many politicians initially, but I mean, this is how they grow. And then the whole MAGA movement obviously exploded. Was the Freedom Caucus all Tea Party candidates? I'm trying to remember. Formed here. Okay. Right now they're at 31 seats. I wonder how big they were. Its first chairman was Jim Jordan. Jesus fucking Christ. Somebody can look it up and tell me. Ask your bots.
3 months.
This is the point I'm trying to make. The smaller you make the set of politicians who are part of this problematic set that are showing the true hand of the Democrat being influenced or whatever, that are part of the dependent variable of politicians who are included here, we've survived these types. We've survived Jamal Bowman. Is there any reason to think Jamal Bowman and Daria Liza, you're going to treat them significantly differently? These are people who, like, Jamal Bowman endorsed Daria Liza.
This almost feels like the guardrails will hold type shit as well, but okay.
That's a question. Jamal Bowman, Daria Liza.
What about Jamal Bowman? We survived him, so therefore I shouldn't like worry about these people. I don't know. I don't think that's a great.
I did not
think
say
that's
so.
a great.
That's a straw man. That's a straw man. I never said don't worry about these people. The question is one about proportionality. I just think it's not proportional, the amount of time and consternation that's being spent, like worrying about our party being taken over by tankies.
Oh my
it's
God.
not occurring. That's what I'm saying. And to the extent that it is, many of them are palatable, like Lander, AOC, and not problematic.
Lander's not DSA. He's not DSA. He is just straight up not DSA.
Lander or
Liberal
AOC.
Zionist.
Whoever you want to say, as the candidates, you might say that Lander doesn't count, AOC doesn't count. That's great.
What do you?
And so,
Pisco, Lander is not DSA. He was not endorsed by DSA. He is not a DSA member. So why would you?
I know that,
him?
Hutch. So,
yeah.
So in terms of the problematic, it is just limited to DSA endorsed candidates. Correct?
No. Are you listening to me? I said it's the entire organization. Like when I say DSA, what do you think of? Like what do you consider DSA?
So I understand that you're making a critique of the organization. I'm trying to tie it to a threat of politicians, right? The threat of.
He's not trying to tie it to a threat. He's trying to relate it to something that is non-threatening, is what he's doing.
Politicians taking over and given governments, correct? There's a connection. It's not just the organization qua organization. It's the organization and its influence on power, correct?
No, but you know my position where I'm not. I don't think the threat is that they're literally going to take over. Their actual threat is they're just going to help Republicans win more seats and defend more seats.
Or they could
they're never
take over
the
too.
party. That's not.
They might.
There's just they're
Okay,
way
so
too.
That's like a worst case scenario. But
yes,
the DSA is never going to take over the party. It's not a threat in terms of that, correct?
obviously not. No,
Okay, so
they would have to.
not.
Yes,
Obviously not, right? Okay.
Oh, yeah, Pisco, that would be in contention with the fact that Hutch is posting the memes of like, look, they're celebrating the wins of that they're back, okay, they got 2 or 3 seats, but ultimately, like you say Jamal Bowman or like what Cory Bush, and it's like, okay, hey, they voted against like this infrastructure bill. It's like that's not good that they are coming in.
So did
and,
AOC.
Right, that's not good.
Right, yeah, it's bad. I mean, that's what I'm trying to say. It's like, where is this existential threat?
AOC didn't vote for the infrastructure bill.
She did not.
Damn.
What the fuck? Is that real?
Yeah.
Chad, is this real?
It is real. Yeah.
I'm gonna fact check you on that one.
I'm looking
boy.
for the existential threat, because what people are adding me at is like Hitler's going to come and Stalin's here and our whole country's going to go away and there's going to be a civil war. Some woman said to me on the Twitter space yesterday, based on the conditions being created by Mamdani. That's what you told me. So I'm looking for the existential threat.
It's such an easy like A to B connection to make here. I mean, do you view the Republican Party as an existential threat to American democracy? Do you think that the DSA helps Republicans win and defend seats?
Not materially, no. I don't think so.
We know for a fact
they're competing. They're competing in non-Republican areas, as you just stated, as everyone is pointing to.
But they're still
like
used
all the
to attack.
defund stuff and all that stuff in 2020. We lost seats in 2020. We lost House seats in the same cycle that we picked up a Senate, 2 Senate seats. You know, claimed a 50-50 majority and won the presidency. Like, why do you think we lost seats that cycle?
That's first of all, I'm looking at the chat right now, and there are people who disagree with you, Hutch. Just to be clear, people like Wick TV right now saying the party is going to turn illiberal. And just to be clear, you think I just want to be?
Why are you attacking? Now you're attacking Hutch's position based on what Wick is saying in chat. Why? What?
I want to have it on the record. You think that's crazy, right? You think Wick is crazy?
I told
the
Wick.
Democrats. Wait, can you just answer the question? So the Wick is crazy.
Why are you doing a gotcha? I told Wick to his face. Like, I think this is crazy. They're not going to take over the party.
I just want it on the record.
It's on the record, bro. It's already on the record. Yes, I disagree with Wick. I disagree with Wick.
I want to formulate it this way. When Wick says the party is in danger of turning illiberal, that's crazy, right?
I told him this to his face on his stream. Yes. This is not,
that's crazy. So what we're left with is the optics fight. It's overdetermined, Hutch. They call Obama a communist. They call Biden a communist. They're gonna spin
so it actually doesn't matter.
But maybe on the margin, they're actual communists.
Yeah, they're
that's
actually
the difference.
communists.
Like,
though.
it's actually true this time.
But it doesn't matter. Damn, it is all the same. These are the Hassan defenses. These are would be the exact same defenses he would run, or maybe even already has run. Jeez, right.
Like when they tried to smear the Democratic Party as like a communist institution that wants to kill God and the nuclear family and all that, it was obvious bullshit for decades. These people are literal like Marxists. They're actual communists. Okay, that's the difference.
Evidence?
What's the threat though?
What's the
evidence going to take over the party?
True accusations of Democratic members who are not going to be running for national office. That's going to have a bigger distortionary effect on the optics of the country than the false smears of people.
Like, how do you even? First of all, a priori, what a stupid statement. So if a false smear works, wouldn't a true smear work the exact same as the false smear? Probably not. That's my guess. I could be wrong, but my guess is going to be if you try to smear somebody and the information is true, that all else equal, that same smear where the information is false, the truer one is probably going to be a more successful smear. That'd be my guess.
Like Kamala. That's what I don't know. What's the evidence for that claim?
Which false smears are you talking about?
So when people say, for example, Kamala Harris is a communist, those kind of people, she's for they, them, she's in favor of whatever. Trans puppies.
No, I think I think like part of the reason why people like Kamala get smeared and it actually works on people is that you have these right-wing elements that prop up the more extreme examples. Like, I don't know how you could honestly tell me that you don't think that the DSA is an electoral liability when how many different polls do we have to see where the median voter is alarmed by the perceived radical leftist shift of the Democratic Party? I don't think it's a radical shift that's occurred in the last couple of decades. But
I don't think it's material. I don't think it's hugely significant. Okay. Maybe there's more evidence. Maybe there's so the question is, what's the evidence that this is going to compromise Democrats in swing states?
Why do you
doing well?
Wait, real quick, also supplementing what Pisco said, a friend of the show, if you guys heard of this guy, Pondering Politics, $10 says, were Biden and Kamala a DSA tier threat because their unpopularity helped elect Republicans, including Trump? This is
just an unbelievably insane. I don't even know where we're going with an argument like that. Like, there's a huge difference between somebody was, unhelpful to us because they didn't do a good job. And so fuck, versus somebody who's intentionally trying to subvert or destroy your party. That's just a crazy.
So basically, does the worst elements of Kamala's campaign or Biden's campaign make them a DSA tier threat because, she said trans prisoners, illegal immigrants should get a sex change for free, right? Like, that's going to get blown up.
How do you think a DSA, dyed-in-the-wool DSA candidate would have done against Trump in 2024?
That's not the question. The question is, are you applying the same standard of existential threat?
That's me saying no.
Like Biden,
that's not the question now, but they can always ask the hypothetical of would you vote for AOC or JD Vance? Would you vote for hypothetical? By the way, for all the people that got mad at me for an extended consideration of if AOC was the leader of a communist party of the United States, she would vote. Damn, I don't know, right? Everybody got mad at me for saying that, and Pisco thinks it's such a killer argument. The other side already says that they wouldn't support Gavin Newsom over JD Vance, which should be a much easier yes. Even if you don't like Gavin Newsom because you don't think he's far left, that should be much easier. Yes, people like Hassan, people like Vaj already say no. I would never vote for Gavin Newsom over JD Vance. And these guys are fine with it. Well, they're not fine with it, but they won't talk about it. They don't care about it. They whatever. We're just supposed to accept that while we continue to purity test our side to make sure that we would support the far left no matter what, even though we know the far left will never fucking support us. Like, okay.
Democrats' chances across the board.
That's me saying no. I don't.
Wick TV.
I'm not
sorry, I'm going on
drawing
Wick. I like Wick a lot, actually. I actually do.
Bring him on the pod. Get him on.
One guy.
Yeah, we should have
one guy.
I like him.
Bring him on right now.
Wick is a dead ender for Joe Biden. And I think Joe Biden was the best president of my lifetime. But if you want to talk about existential threat due to optics, Joe Biden was dragging the party down, going kicking and screaming. And it was Kamala Harris who saved our fucking asses from having a 42-43 Democrat.
We don't know that. Like, we can say that, and maybe it's true, but we don't really know. We don't really know that. It's like such a out there thing to consider. It's hard to really know just because of how fucking crazy that election was. But like, there is a world where people voted for Biden last time, and so they just vote for Biden again because they don't give a fuck. Or people voted last time, and now they saw like Kamala got swapped in, and they fell for this is anti-democratic rhetoric, and now they're not going to participate at all. Where Biden would, like, who the fuck knows? Yeah, maybe they're racist, sexist people. They're like, I don't know, I feel about black women or whatever. Who knows? Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, even at the time, I didn't feel strongly one way or another if they replaced him or not, because I think it's a hard decision either way. But this idea that it's so obvious that Biden would have completely and totally fucking lost is not... I think people give too much credit to that idea.
Majority Senate, and Wick doesn't give a shit about the optics or the effect on popularity. That was Pondering's point, is that you don't have this kind of feeling to someone who's a more centrist who carries that baggage.
I'm with Pisco on this one in that they've been crying communist for years and years and years. So what difference does it make if someone is actually a communist, because their audience is convinced that left is all communists already. So it doesn't matter if they actually have those positions.
I hate this argument. Like, they're going to do it anyway, so that it shouldn't matter if like...
It's also a difference because that's Republicans calling us communists, and it's part of the political back and forth, and we know that we're not communists. But now we're talking about like actual communists in our camp calling us fascists. The way you deal with that is a little bit different, right? And then the Democrats labeling us as commies from the outside. Well, we're trying to set ourselves apart from the commies on the inside, who are now labeling us as fascist or Republican collaborators on the inside. It's like, it's a way more treacherous terrain to navigate.
DSA people just fully give them ammunition by going on Fox News and affirming every single one of the worst stereotypes that they try to draw of the Democratic Party. Like,
the question is not whether or not that's good, Hutch. It's, does that move the needle significantly for a audience of people that is poised to think that Barack Obama...
Like, it's so funny using that example. Couldn't you literally just say, why do you cover Donald Trump at all? You guys, a lot of you guys have been calling Trump and the Republicans fascists for decades. So why does it matter to cover him and call him a fascist now? Shouldn't you just find something else to do? Like, you've been ringing the same tune over and over and over again. Why does it matter if he actually is one now versus, was kind of acting like one before? Like,
was a communist, or that gets their news from Fox and
Casual Bribery, thank you for giving 5 subs in Kick Chat. Love you.
The Tallarico clip of them saying, I think our country should be like a front porch.
Trans.
It should have, a door with no lock, and then, or something, or whatever, they cut it off before he even finishes his thing. Or they make an AI video of him saying, I want all kids to be trans, right? Like, what is this going to do to significantly change the voter base? And is there polling that shows that when these people are blown up, that the independents and the left or the right wingers are going to be voting more and be scared of this stuff? Like that.
Like, what the fuck is that poll? Hey, voter, we just want to know that if more ads were ran about the crazy socialists over in Maine and Plattner, would it affect the way that you would vote in Texas in the upcoming primary? And like, how the fuck would you even poll on something like this? Like, Jesus.
That's
like,
what
we have the polls that show the majority of Democrats think that the party is too far left. And now one of all the loudest voices in our party are extreme leftists. Like, I don't know how else you're supposed to poll around this issue. Like, what the fuck?
We need to see to say, and that's why they're as much of a threat. Or, like, is AOC a threat just for existing in this party? Is Joe Biden not dropping out more of a threat than DSA candidates? That's what Josiah is getting at with this question.
These are different sets of problems, and we can unpack all the problems with Biden and Kamala. We've done on this podcast 1,000 times. But let me just put it back to you guys and just ask you: when the DSA co-chairs go on Fox News and affirm all of the right-wing like nightmare scenarios that they have constructed over the decades, do you think it makes their job, Fox News, do you think it makes their job easier to smear the entire
of course.
Democratic
But the question is, but does it make the electorate shift?
I think it does. I don't know how to quantify.
It doesn't, because no media matters and nothing matters, and the electorate won't shift no matter what, and nothing. It's just all a meme at the end of the day. So no, nothing will matter, nothing will happen, and I guess it's just like, what?
Well, how do I prove that though? How do I prove that to you? I mean, like, if I wanted to prove that,
doesn't mean that you don't have a burden.
Yeah, so like an example that
There's
one of the
literally-
chatters,
God.
this might have been Ben, was saying if the New York primary cycle, when this blew up and Daria Lisa is getting all this media attention, you could see a bump in polls from independents and right wingers wanting to vote against stuff like that, or opinion polling on the perception of socialism. Like these would be things where you could quantify this, or maybe even exit polling on, hey, why did you vote for this candidate? It's like, oh, I saw Daria Lisa on Fox News. Like there are ways to quantify this. Maybe it hasn't happened yet, but it's not impossible. Josiah has joined. Wait a minute.
I don't think Hutch has to prove anything.
Oh,
He can
boy.
have that opinion.
Wait a minute.
No, but I mean, if you want to point to data sets, we know for a fact that like the median voter in this country has by like a 15, 16 point shift.
Somebody linked me a picture of this. I don't even know how true or what necessarily this is referencing, but if this is true, holy fuck. Tea Party, June 2010, negative 13 points. DSA now, negative 25 points. Source, ABC News, Fox News. I don't know when this was taken or what, but...
Moved more towards the view that the Democratic Party has become too extreme. I don't think that's true. I don't
But wasn't that before the DSA?
That's
but
pre-DSA as well.
No, but you guys don't think that having these like elements within the Democratic Party
Somebody said this is from last Sunday.
like contributed to that at all? Like
No,
you don't
we're
think
agreeing. Obviously, it makes their job easier. Obviously, if you don't have to make an AI clip of Tallarico and you have a clip of
Then
someone
you're
saying,
taking my
I want
position.
to...
That's
yeah,
my
but
position.
our position is to what extent should we be worried and how quantifiable is this, that this is worth focusing on past, yeah, that's bad, but whatever, let's focus on Trump, right?
Is it
Like,
gonna,
that's
is
what
it
we're
gonna
talking
scuttle
about.
Ossoff? Is it gonna scuttle our chances in it? Like, I don't know, any of these swing states? Where should we expect the effect to be felt? I mean, what are we? These I think races are much more local than they are national in character.
No, but you know that even like the smallest races in the smallest district can blow up and get national attention with the wrong candidate. And it makes the job more difficult if you're a Democrat that's making the case to flip the Congress.
Ossoff is able to use them as a.
Why are you asking me to explain something that you know to be true? Don't play this game with me.
I'm not convinced. I'm not convinced that it will make
the Plattner
someone
stuff.
in
The
a
Plattner
moderate
stuff. The Plattner stuff. Do you think that hurt
The Plattner
Democrats?
stuff. Yeah. So yes,
okay,
I do-
so then
I
you
do think that
understand. You understand that certain candidates can be a liability to
He
the
didn't
party,
like that up.
and it extends
He didn't
beyond
like
the
that
state
one.
or the district that they're running in.
He said,
agree,
"Oh my God."
Yes, I agree in principle that certain candidates can be an anchor to the party brand, et cetera, et cetera. The party brand pre-DSA is dog shit, Hutch. I mean, it's the most unpopular it's ever been. And like, is this going to significantly decrease? How much lower can it get in the eyes?
This is true, but again, this is like causes that are working together. Like part of the reason why our brand is so dog shit is that we literally can never advocate for ourselves. We cannot ever advocate for a Democratic Party brand. Every good thing that came from us had to have come from the socialists or somebody else, and then every bad thing that happens is because of an establishment Dem that the left wing in our party is constantly telling us. It's like, yeah, it's no wonder that our brand is so fucking dog shit because all of the loudest voices in our party are only seeking to undermine our party constantly.
Of the population. So in terms of national brand, we're not in a good place anyway. I know
Actually, yeah, Pisco, that would be a good metric, right? Well, no,
Let's
Hutch,
just
that's a
lean
good
into
metric.
it.
Like we can see how does the Democratic Party as a whole poll, and it has not been doing well. And this is pre like DSA candidates winning. Does it get worse afterwards? Does it get better? Like these are one of many metrics you could use. And I'm not writing off the idea that this is like I've literally made videos on like, holy shit, stop becoming the Republican straw man. You're making our jobs harder. But to what degree? That's all we're asking is like, obviously this is going to shift the needle. But
Yeah,
how much?
quantify.
You're
How many
asking me a
votes are you
question
gonna
that is
lose?
literally
How many votes are you gonna lose?
unquantifiable.
I just gave you a metric.
Yeah,
and you
give me
said,
the metric. How many votes are you
no,
gonna
it's
lose?
not quantifiable.
It's polling for the Democratic Party. That's a metric. And by the way,
but
it's
you
irrational.
understand.
Like you can have an intuition about it, Hutch, but you're on no
It's not-
ground.
but it's not
to say that
intuition.
Our intuition. So okay,
It's not intuition. It's just I can't give you a.
The problem is whatever intuition Hutch has, if you are going to look at polls, I mean, there's one I just brought up. There's a million others. Like nobody wants the Democratic Party. Like it's a minority position. These are minority. All of these are minority positions in the Democratic Party. If evidenced by nothing else other than the fact that the only places these people can run are in the bluest fucking districts in the United States. Like, what more evidence do you need that these are like the bluest positions? That these are not popular with the Democratic Party at large.
Precise quantity. I can't tell you exactly it's going to cost this many votes, but we know for a fact, just like we know it has been firmly established that a big part of the reason why the Democratic Party brand is so shit right now is because of the perception that it's too extreme, it's too left wing, and you're over here asking me well, I don't really see how a candidate like Daria Lisa is going to materially impact the party. It's not quantifiable.
Materially, it must be quantifiable to some degree, right? Like
To
we can
some
look
degree,
at
but I just
we can look at these things and we can measure them. And if we're getting fucked and we have exit polling on why people are voting this way, if we know it's the Democratic Party doesn't have a message or they're viewed as too far left. Like we know this because of polling, It's not just vibes. So we all agree.
Okay, hold on, real quick.
Hey there, if Democrats lose to Trump yet again, these are all the red flags. Democrats, you have only about 100 days until the midterm election, and you don't have control of either chamber anywhere close to being locked up. What are we talking about here? Well, we're talking about...
Man, was it 6 or 7 months ago that we were talking about potentially winning the Senate And now we're like, are we going to win the... We are going to win the House, right?
Cash on hand. We're talking about cash on hand. You know, Democrats, they're much more like this. They're your $1 bills. While Republicans, you're much more like this. Your 50s, and dare I say, even your $100 bills. Because just take a look here. Cash on hand from the main outside groups. Ergo, your congressional committees, right? Your NRSC. Take a look here. Republicans at this point, $657 million. My goodness gracious. That's why I'm talking about these bills, right? $100 bills. While the Democrats, only about $334 million. Only about half the level. Only about half the level of Republicans. And of course, cash is what makes the world go round in politics. Now, you think that these numbers are bad? How about the national committees themselves? The RNC, the DNC, Republican National Committee, Democratic National Committee. Look at this. Cash they have, June 2026. The RNC, $129 million. That's pretty gosh darn good, right? But get this. The Democrats are a rarity. The DNC is...
What the fuck? Why aren't they spending any of their fucking money, though? Have they not? Have they been spending? Have they not been spending?
Red on your screen. Why are they red? Because they're literally in the red, way down there. They're actually in negative territory. That's cash on hand subtracted by the party debt. The party debt actually is greater than the cash on hand. The Democratic National Committee.
Yeah, maybe they felt like those elections were all unwinnable, so they said, fuck it, maybe? I don't know.
It's broke. It's basically broke. And why is this? What is going on here? And it is because Democratic enthusiasm for the Washington establishment, it is way down there underwater, under the Potomac River. Look at this. Look at this. I mean, hello, approve of their own party in Congress. We're talking about a new Tea Party here. You know, back in July of 2010, when Republicans really did not like their congressional leadership, right? Really didn't like it. Still, 52%. 52% of Republicans approved of their own party in Congress. Look at where Democrats are now.
Like, 52% of Republicans approve of their own party in Congress, okay? Who are the Republicans that are the most... Who are the Republicans that are the most critical of their own party? I'm thinking two. Thomas Massey, and I guess you could say Marjorie Taylor Greene, were like your two big ones. I don't know why we're comparing 2010, though. Oh, maybe because they want to do the Tea Party thing? I don't know what the actual approval is now. I imagine it's lower. But when you think of the most critical Republicans of the Republican Party right now, these people get excised from the fucking party, right? Kinzinger and Cheney were gone. Massey and Marjorie Taylor Greene are like pushed as much out as possible. They do not tolerate criticism of their own side. It's just like it's not possible. Meanwhile, on our side, I feel like our loudest voices like hate our party. Like our loudest voices are the loudest voices we have are like anti-democratic party. It feels like, except for maybe not Ossoff and not Newsom. To be fair, actually, they're not. But all of the far lefty ones, obviously, Bernie Sanders and AOC, and not Mamdani, but the people that he supports and like the DSA apparatus around them are all like hate the Democratic Party. It's very fucking annoying.
They're in a worse position, the Democrats in Congress, than Republicans were during their Tea Party wave of 2010. Now Democrats, they can't even reach the 50% mark, and we're talking within their own party. I mean, my goodness gracious. And of course, this to me is part of a larger problem that Democrats have when it comes to their own popularity. You know what it is? It's way down there underwater. Take a look at this. Okay, the Democratic Party net favorability. Back in 2018, when Democrats were able to take control of the House, they were actually on the plus side of the ledger. They were actually in positive territory at plus 1 point. Look now in 2026.
This is also the reason why the Dems can never fucking, well, one of the reasons why we can never fucking seize an opportunity is because when there is an opportunity for us to actually make big plays because the Republicans are fucking things up so bad, well, there's actually opportunists in our party that are trying to seize the party when we have an opportunity to take over the Congress or take over the, the trifecta, the House, whatever else. Trifecta, I don't know, not this record, but like, we can't even seize on the moment because now it's like, oh my God, there's weakness in the Republican Party. Time to eat the Democratic Party from the inside out now with my new ideas. Like, Jesus, fuck.
We're not just talking down there.
Like, imagine if we didn't have these DSA fucking cancerous leeches in our party right now, how unified, theoretically, the Democratic messaging could be about attacking Trump. Like, every single day, there are so many fucking things that you can hammer this administration on that we would just be going to town on. But we can't. Now we're infighting. Amazing.
Underneath the Potomac. We're talking down there with the Titanic. We're talking 24 points underwater. And this is just the party overall. This isn't the congressional leadership. This is the party. The party. It's just a terrible, terrible, terrible brand. Terrible. I want to almost get my Charles Barkley. Terrible, terrible. I can't even do a Charles Barkley. But the bottom line is it's absolutely terrible. Now, what is the reasons? Why is the Democratic brand so terrible? Well, one reason why the Democratic brand is so terrible at this point in the voters' minds is, take a look at this trend line. Voters saying that Democrats are too liberal. In 1996...
This just means we've lost so much on trans shit. Guaranteed. It's the only fucking thing. The average voter is so fucking stupid.
It was 42%. In 2013, it was 58%. Now, The clear majority of Americans believe, and the clear majority of voters say that the Democratic Party is too liberal. 57%, they think that the Democratic Party is out of the mainstream, out of the frame, I dare say. My God, this is a massive, massive problem. And you know what is fueling that? You know what's only adding fuel to the fire? How about the Democratic Socialists of America? You know, I mentioned a new Tea Party. Net favorable opinion of the Tea Party back in June of 2010 versus the Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA, right now. Remember, the Tea Party helped keep Democrats in control of the United States Senate back in 2010 because Republicans ran all these candidates that were just seen out of the mainstream, right? Christine O'Donnell in Delaware. How about Ken Buck in Colorado? How about Sharon Angle, who did the impossible in Nevada and helped get Harry Reid another term in the United States Senate? Well, their net favorable rating back in June of 2010, 13 points underwater. Not too hot to trot. Not too hot to trot. But not absolutely terrible. Compared to the DSA now, 25 points underwater. Twice as unpopular as the Tea Party was back in June of 2010. Now, let's broaden this out a little bit. Let's talk about what we're talking about. What are the effects of this? How could this play out? Well, how about this? How about House candidates' money race? You know, it's not as bad for Democrats in the House as it is for their party committees, but still, they're in a worse position now in terms of the percentage of cash that's been raised by Democrats versus Republicans. We're talking about they get 55% of the cash raise. That is down from the 61%. So even though Democrats are ahead in the cash race for the House candidates, they are in a worse position than they were back in 2018 when they took back the House. Now, this, to me, is part of what we're seeing in the overall House picture, right? The playing field is smaller for Democrats. House seats at least leaning towards the GOP, according to the Cook Political Report. This is the Trump midterms. Back in July of 2018, it was 206 seats at this point that were leaning towards the GOP, at least leaning. Now, it's 212 in a race to 218. Republicans are nearly to that 218 marker. Now, I'm not saying they're going to get there, but they're much closer than they were at this point in the 2018 cycle. Now, this is, again, part of a larger trend that we're seeing. National trend lines. Democrats lead on the generic ballot. Again, midterms with the Republican president. In 2006, Democrats were up by 10 points. They took back the House. In 2018, they were up by 8 points, very similar to 10. Now that lead is on one hand. It's just 5. It's just 5 points. Now, why is this 5 points so important? Because Republicans have helped make it so important. How? Through the redistricting efforts. Which means so much. Okay, Democrats in the National House vote margin, their current poll lead nationally is 5. How much do they need to win back the U.S. House of Representatives? Well, with redistricting, we're talking about 3 to 4. Democrats are right on the margin. Republicans have made them right on the margin. So the race for the House is not anywhere close to being cinched up for the Democrats. Now, you might notice, I've been saying a lot in a lot of period of time. I'm a little, woo! So today, to quench my thirst, oh yeah,
what? We're doing
I got myself a Canada Dry, 0 sugar, cherry fruit splash.
What?
All right, let's have a little bit of it. Oh, I love cherry.
I love cherry. Unethical.
Okay. It's a march to the finish here. We're nearly done. All right, we've talked about the House, but perhaps the biggest problem for for Democrats is in the race for Senate control. Okay, so let's just talk about the math that is needed here. The math that's needed. States Dems need to win the Senate. They need a total net gain of 4 seats. Well, 3 of these seats they'll have to pick up are in states that Trump won. Back in 2024. And I'll note the one blue state is Maine. And let's be real, at this point, that is very TBD, given all the Graham Plattner stuff and then having to bring in a new Democratic candidate. That is very TBD. So even that blue state, not anywhere close to being cinched. Now, we're talking about those red states, right? And only one of those states was won by Trump by a small margin. That was North Carolina, +3, in terms of the pickup opportunities. The rest, Ohio, Alaska, Iowa, Texas, all won by Trump by double digits.
That's okay. They hate him now. That's okay. They hate him now. It's okay.
That are really red leaning. That's what's going on here.
That's okay. They hate him now, guys.
We can go back through history. We can go back to the last Trump midterm election and think, okay, did they pick up any states like this? Well, no, not really. Talk about the 2018 red state Dem pickups. There's just a single one. Just a single numero uno. Just one, baby. Just one. That was Arizona. And Trump won that state by just 4 points, much more like a North Carolina, right? And Kristen Sinema, the Democrat, she was then a Democrat, she only won it by 2. So there's no real history of this going on here. Now, if we're talking just generally speaking, you can see this here, again, in the 6 key states that...
Oh, God. And not just on Fox News. Here, ready for the 0 pushback? Because our lib media can't do anything? Hassan Piker will be on CNN this Sunday for their special program covering the rise of democratic socialism in America. Oh, boy.
We're looking at the generic ballot lead for the Republicans +6. Again, 53% of Democrats 53% of the voters in those key swing states say that the Democratic Party is too far to the left. So the Senate battleground, much more even extreme than what we see nationally. Finally, I'll just note in terms of the prediction markets at this point, which kind of brings it all together, the chance to win the Senate, back in April 24th, there was about a 50-50 shot. By July 24th, look at that. The Republican chances now, we put it all together, they're at a 56% chance. But you know what? I would argue the biggest red flag that Democrats have, the biggest red flag, look at this. It's apathy, not believing that Democrats can change anything. Because the impacts of Democrat policy...
Why would you think that Democrats could change anything? The Republicans tell you they won't, and our left wing tells you that they don't. Because that's it. They're all corporate bought shills anyway. Like, this, bro.
On your cost of living, only 41% say help, hurt, or wouldn't change it. The clear majority, nearly 3 in 5, 59%. So, look, these are all the red flags. If in fact Democrats can't take back control of either the House and or the Senate, and if Trump can stop them, this is what's going on. Folks, if you like what you heard, why don't you leave a comment? We'll see if
I don't like what I heard.
Be able to delve into those issues next time around.
Was CNN taken over by another owner? No, Barry hasn't infected them yet, right? I don't think.
Obviously, this is bad optics. To what degree does it matter? We can quantify this. Maybe we can't today. We didn't prepare for a debate, but there's got to be something that we can use to say, oh, holy shit. Like Democratic generic parties going down right now after this surge in DSA wins.
So I'm fine with you if you want to say this is my suspicion, this is what I think will happen. But then people aren't on the right, I think, epistemic ground to say your intuition, your suspicion, which my reversion to the mean is this kind of shit isn't going to affect the national character of races. I don't know.
Oh, CNN is Larry Ellison? Okay, based.
Steady principle is it's the economy stupid. It's the general character of whatever electorate you're talking about. It's these kind of broader things that aren't as.
Oh, no, not yet.
It's not about whether Mamdani is the mayor in fucking New York. That's my position. And I don't think that people who criticize that view think like, I don't really think it's going to affect the national brand that much, are on equal footing to say that that's like clearly wrong unless they have evidence. But I'm fine with you having that suspicion. I just don't think that it's like you can say
I just want to stipulate before I come in here and kick Hutch in the balls is that actually I agree with him in the sense that like this DSA clip that's circulating, I think that it certainly will not help. It will have some sort of deleterious impacts.
How many voters will not vote because of that DSA clip, though? Show me the number of voters. How many voters will not vote because of that clip, though? Show me the number of voters. Show me the...
Especially as Fox News signal boosted. I don't know if it will be outcome determinative, but we don't need to add anything to, given the margin of error in even the House of Representatives and certainly the Senate, we don't need to make a very difficult challenge, that much worse. So I agree with Hutch that my intuition as well is that this is not going to help. But, to the extent that we're not litigating the policy platform here, we're just talking about the electoral consequences of DSA or the negativity that DSA brings. I'm just curious if we're consistent in our standard. I mean, everybody agrees here that the National Democratic Party brand, as represented by the likes of Joe Biden and Hakeem Jeffries and others, quote unquote, establishment Democrats, we would all agree that the brand is pretty bad, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
Do you regard Hakeem Jeffries, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, we can go through name by name, do you regard them as threats to the Democratic Party because...
Like, part of the reason why the brand is so bad is because we keep getting attacked from our own inside the party over and over and over and over again. It's like the thing to do as a Democrat is to shit on other Democrats.
They depress voter enthusiasm. Voters are fed up with those particular politicians. How would you describe them?
It's like saying, like... My brother is weak and he can't help me move. And it's like, why? Because fucking John chopped his arm off. So we need to get rid of John, okay? John is chopping his fucking arm off. My brother can't help me move. And it's like, okay, well, hold on. So let's tease this out. So you think John is a problem because you're saying what? It's going to make it so that you can't move because he's chopping John's arm off? Yes. Or because he's chopping your brother's arm off? Like, yes. Okay, well, by that logic then, isn't your brother also a problem because he's armless? Like your brother, you must admit that your brother is also a huge problem here. I'm just testing the hypothetical, holding you to your standard that if it is the reason that this other guy, that John is bad because he's making it so you can't move, then certainly your brother who's armless is bad. It's like, yes, that's the point.
Apply a completely different standard when you have someone like Biden presidency.
That's fucking bullshit, Hutch.
Like, this is so retarded. That's bullshit. Why would I treat somebody who is trying their best to help the Democratic Party brand and failing versus somebody who's subversively trying to take over your entire political party and is attacking your party the entire time? Why would I treat those two sides differently? Oh my God, bruh. I can't, dude. I just don't even know. I can't tell if it's like part of the subversion or if it's just like a total understanding of like a macro level politic, or maybe I'm wrong. Like I said, I hope I'm wrong on everything. I hope I'm just wrong on all of this, and I don't know. I'll eat crud in a couple months, and all of this disappears, and who knows?
Nuance? Who heard of this? I mean,
Schumer is net negative.
Let me make my point. You gotta let me. Like when it comes to Biden, like he was president and he spent actual political capital. Like he sacrificed part of his popularity in part to deliver on promises made to like the progressive wing of the party. I'm not even saying that was a bad thing, but I'm just saying like, are you even going to tell me that it's a totally different, like we should evaluate these things completely?
Holy fucking, I don't even know who this guy is, but I follow him. Holy fucking true. Every left-wing poll be like, would you vote for socialist if we could give you everything you've ever wanted with no cost? Socialism plus 63. What if it cost you literally anything? Death to commies plus 794. Like, true.
Differently, like it's a totally different role, like some obscure seat in some state assembly or something like that, or some small race or some small district in the country. Like how much of a life
thing? It's like it only matters when it's these sneaky little people and over there. But
no. Oh my God! It's almost like you apply a different standard to people trying to intentionally destroy your party from the inside versus other people who are just part of your party. It's yes, there is a different standard. Yeah, you treat these parties differently. That's the whole point.
I didn't say that. No, Biden was an unpopular president. He was a liability to the party.
I just want to say people hate both parties the same. So when I hear the Democratic Party isn't polling well, doesn't have high approval rating, it doesn't mean anything to me because neither does the Republican Party. I look at the special election victories in the last 18 months as a sign that people think more positively of the Democrats.
My understanding, Guy, and you have to correct me if I'm wrong because I haven't looked at the polling recently on this, was that,
What? What? Another Air Bud movie? Hold on. Trailer dropped less than 24 hours ago. What?
The player that defined a generation.
Defined a generation.
And became the original underdog is returning to the spotlight.
Here we come, ready or not, guess who's back?
Whoa. All right, buddy, one-on-one.
What?
I was called for a minute, but I'm back, son.
Ain't no rules that says a dog can't play basketball.
1, 2, 3, Timberwolves!
Well, are these guys like in the why is there only one guy in a wheelchair? What is this? Okay, it's okay. The quartering and the Magnetron guy and everybody already making 4 million videos on it.
This game is coming down to the wire. We headed straight for the top. Are you ready for this? Is crazy. Are you ready for the combat? Are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready? 'Cause this is back. This is back.
I just bought this 100.
Okay.
the Democratic Party collectively was polling worse than Republicans or Trump at every point that their favorabilities were compared or their approval ratings were compared.
Yeah, but
with the polling recently on this was that, you know, the Democratic Party collectively was polling worse than Republicans or Trump at every point that their favorabilities were compared or their approval ratings were compared.
Yeah, but by how much? We were talking.
Okay, I'm pretty sure Josiah's trying his best always. When I say that, I don't mean like he's retarded, he's trying his best. I mean, like, I think he has the interest of the Democratic Party in mind, and he's not being like doing some weird subversive shit. But I find it really hard to believe that that this is an argument that he thought up on his own, because his argument is just so dumb. Like, wouldn't you agree that since Biden was bad for the party, it's the same thing as a subversive actor being bad for the party? I just can't imagine that. It's impossible to me. That's just such a weird argument.
Talking single digits, you know, it's nothing. It's
yeah, no. The only reason I bring this up is because, again, I totally concede, you know, what Hutch was arguing with respect to the specifics of the policy platform. But what perked my ears up is this idea that, well,
or I don't think this is true, because I feel like he exists so far outside of like all the weirdo online spaces. The other concern is that he's just worried about the harassment and getting bullied like crazy by these far leftist types, which hopefully is not the case. I don't think, because I just don't think he exists in those spaces as much. But
well, the DSA is a threat to take seriously because they could cost us elections. They could make it more likely for Republicans to win. Then by that logic, we have to say the same thing about Joe Biden or Kamala Harris or Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer. And I don't think Hutch would do that. And Hutch would appeal to, well, they do other things. But that's besides the point. You can say, okay, yes.
Biden more than the others. Biden more than the others. How much is the median voter thinking about Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer?
I imagine that the median
10% of the country are thinking about these people very much.
Yeah,
I imagine
how much is the median voter going to know who the co-chair of the DSA is?
Precisely.
A week from now, you know? Like,
I suspect I'm not the leader of the respective Congress. I mean, make that make sense.
No, that's true. If he was just worried about avoiding harassment, he would just not talk about it at all, rather than do a proactive defense or whatever. Sure.
That's where, Hutch, that's where I think that your calculus falls apart here, because I suspect that the median voter will be thinking about how fed up they are with the Democratic establishment more than they will about the DSA.
I mean, I agree with Guy here. We're like, I don't really know how much the polls matter right now when you look at the actual election results. The people, they're like, the Democratic Party brand tanked because they're losers. They lost to Donald Trump for a second time after January 6th, after his nightmaric presidency during the first term. And people don't like losers. And it's that simple. And so there's an internal revolt within the party. The party feels betrayed in part by people like Biden for staying in the race, but also, you know, there's this perception that the like establishment like propped him up or whatever. A lot of the stuff is, I think, complete nonsense and just total noise. But that's what you asked the question, like, why is Guy asked the question, why is DSA, you know, seeing more success now? It's because they're fucking arsonists who thrive in this kind of chaos. They feed off of people's anger and insecurity and ignorance, and you know, their numbers are going to dwindle again the next time there's a Democratic Party administration. But you know,
so then
yeah,
what's the
that's
problem?
why I think
if they're going to dwindle, then their influence is going to wane as we get closer to the presidential, and so who cares?
True.
Something that Steven said yesterday that I got thinking about when I woke up at 3 hours later was, what would DSA's numbers look like in subsequent election cycles? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, But like, obviously, you have this election cycle where Daria Liza and Valdez were elected, but technically, didn't that cohort shrink in between like the last couple of years because Cori Bush and Jamal Bowman lost their elections to moderate? So I think I don't think we can just assume that it is inevitable that DSA grows from here. I think that like the push and pull of politics means that we could see them get wiped out in the next election cycle or two.
No, because it's like your body kills cancer. I don't even know if this is true. It's one of those stupid factoids, but it's like once a day your body develops cancer somewhere, but your immune system clears it out. But like once there's a tumor growing, now it's a significantly different problem. Mamdani will be the mayor of New York City for who knows how long. I don't know how long the average mayor of New York City lasts, but for quite a while. That's a foothold that's not going to disappear, right? It's not like House seats that in 2 years could rotate out and you never see them again. So you have some solid foundation now, and then for however much longer Bernie Sanders manages to stay alive, this guy's also like an ardent DSA type supporter. So you have like some continual base of attack now that will be hosted within our party and continuously launched forever or for the foreseeable future. So it's not like they're just going to go away like when Nina Turner or Roman or whoever else like, loses an election and now they're gone.
Well, hold on, Josiah. The only reason Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush lost was because of dirty AIPAC money and nothing to do with their popularity or anything else. So
That's right.
You got to keep that in mind.
You got the cheat code. You got that AIPAC cheat code.
That's close. I mean, it was the fire alarm.
I mean, they say it. A lot of people believe it. A lot of people believe if El Sayed loses on next Tuesday, it's because of AIPAC. It has nothing to do with his campaign or his coalition or his policies. Nothing. It's all AIPAC's fault.
I just need to be pigeonholed by lefty standards when it comes to their assessment of the facts, though. And so I think that Josiah's point is well taken, that it's not at all clear that to the extent that these are failing politicians or politicians who keep saying cringe things, that the Democratic electorate, who I think has been brutal and vicious in recent months, won't kick them out. There's precedent for this.
And even to the people in chat who are like saying, well, they lost because of X, Y, and Z reason. Who gives a fuck? They lost. The point is like this idea that, my God, if we don't strike the final death blow to DSA, their numbers are going to double, triple, quadruple. That's fucking cap. And it's also just not proven by recent electoral history. You have no evidence that that's the case.
We need to deal with the death blow. Do we feel like DSA is on like a rise right now or on a fall? I feel like the way they're talking is that like the DSA is on the way out. I feel like most DSA types probably feel like they're on an upswing right now. It would be my assumption, but
it just for me it strains credulity to hear you guys say, well, I don't really see what the problem is when you're talking about, you know, a movement that is very openly, explicitly, publicly saying we want to destroy the Democratic Party, and from its ashes we will build a new vanguard party that will usher in a communist utopia. You know, all while looking at a consistent public polling that shows the median voters think that the Democratic Party is too extreme. And then I got both of you guys on.
When you say that Josiah did not come up with these arguments himself and is scared of harassment, are you saying that Substance is DMing him talking point? What? No? I'm saying I feel like he must have heard this talking point from either Pisco or heard it from somewhere else. I don't think Josiah's in communication with Jessica or any of these other people. No. I don't think Pisco is in communication with any of those people.
So like, I don't really see what the big deal is, you know? Like,
no, I think, like I said, I when I entered this conversation, I said that I concede that I could see DSA costing us elections in like swing districts and swing states. I'd totally make room for that, given the polling that you've cited, that the American people believe that the Democratic Party is too far left. I totally concede that. My issue is, and I think this is what you and Pisco were trying to hash out before I jumped in, was to calibrate the extent of the threat. You do have people in chat who are objectively wrong and stupid and always lose the debate, suggesting that we are on the cusp of some sort of MCU Hydra takeover of the Democratic Party, and you yourself have conceded that that's wrong, right? And so now that's one extreme we've taken care of. I don't take Pisco's comments as to say that DSA literally poses no threat in no context. It's just we're trying to calibrate the extent to which it's a threat at all.
But these are very... Go ahead, Pisco.
I was going to say that that's correct. I think that if I'm going to be convinced that someone, for example, like Mark Kelly or John Ossoff are going to be sandbagged by these candidates, I'd like to see some evidence of that. If anything, I think Ossoff...
They already, the day after actually, or this morning, because I talked to them last night, I think, apparently there are already a ton of like, or there was a few huge the day before, anti-Ossoff tweets or whatever. These guys are crazy if they think that Ossoff the Jew is going to be supported by the DSA types. Like, that's just never happening. It will be the most vicious fucking shit you've ever seen in the world. I'm going to be so irritated if these guys are like, oh my God, are these guys anti-Semitic? Like 2 years from now. Oh my God, bro.
Ossoff, he just had an interview, right, where he's making a contrast with some of these DSA types, and they're like, "Do you believe in abolish this? No. Do you believe in?"
I think that was actually
like 5 years ago.
Wasn't that not recent? Or am I
whatever.
That was from 2020.
Okay, fine, but he can do things like that. Mark Kelly can do things like that. We have examples, for example, like Tom Swazi and others who are able to appeal. And now, listen, I have my problems with Swazi and other these individuals. That's true, but it's not clear to me that it's going to sandbag these candidates in swing districts. And unless there's evidence for that, it obviously can cause other problems. And if there really were some Hydra takeover event that we're on the cusp of having, that would present its own set set of challenges, and I would concede that that's a harm. But it's just like, to me, I'm not convinced that that's going to happen. I don't think that Ossoff is going to be sandbagged.
That feels like a little bit of a straw man. Like, you guys know my concern. My concern is the Republican Party. I do view the Republican Party as a literal existential threat to the American Republic. And Josiah, if you agree that the DSA being a liability sufficient to maybe strip us of a few seats in the House, if you agree that that's possible or likely, then I think you do understand the threat. And for some reason you're not landing on the logical conclusion, which is that, you know, we live in a hyperpolarized era right now where the margins really do matter. Like, these are going to be they've been really close margins in the House for like the last few cycles. And if you agree that they might cost us seats, then you agree that they could cost us like the majority in the House.
Well, wait, but also
Hutch,
what's the prescription, right? Voters voted for these people. They like these people better than the moderate and whatever.
And then you get this really weird, like, what's the prescription world where it's like, I need a hyper-specific, like, 15-point crystal knot plan. Like, how are we going to destroy these people and get them completely away from us? It's like, just, I don't know, just cover them adversarially. Don't, like, you know, you don't have to like give them props. You know, nobody gives Hitler props for, I'm sure he did something good with fucking Germany. You don't have to like give them credit on all this stuff and act like they're on our team and, you know, like, well, we're aligned with them directionally. Like, just cover them adversarially.
District they're running in. So
it's like a start.
Tell them not to do that. Like, you know, that's what they're doing in the primaries. We're like, hey, these are why these people aren't as good, why they're not electable. Should we not like, endorse them in general? It's like, what do? You can try to shift party opinion away from these worse ideas and say these aren't good and hope that they vote right. But we kind of brushed over the fact like voters are picking them. They like them. They're like, oh, these guys are fighters. So what do we do?
Well, I want to answer Hutch's question since he posed it directly to me before we start that tangent, which is, I think that it's certainly possible that DSA, as they continue to be signal boosted, like the example with the co-chair on Fox News, that they could cost us some seats in some swing districts. I don't know if it's probable. I'm saying that it's certainly possible given the polling that you cited. But again, I'm not sure what you're asking me as far as like me recognizing that's a problem. I do recognize that's a problem. But if the idea is that because DSA is so unpopular that it could cost us certain elections, therefore they're a threat, that logic works with Chuck Schumer and Hakeem Jeffries and Kamala Harris and other people. But you would never say, oh, we got to distance ourselves from Chuck Schumer.
No, the difference is that Chuck Schumer, first of all, why would he assume that Hutch would never say these guys need to go if they're not doing it for the party? The difference is that my guess is, and again, I love Josiah has probably said more negative things about Schumer or Jeffries than he has about, than either one of those, than he has about every single lefty combined in the past year. Every single DSA, every single probably about just one of those people, more negative comments about Schumer or Jeffries than every single subversive DSA member combined. That's the issue, is that if Schumer or Jeffries are fucking up, it's easy for us to say, well, they gotta go. And I would be shocked if Hutch disagrees with that, if Hutch has some blind allegiance to fucking Schumer or Jeffries.
Kamala Harris and Joe Biden and whoever else. And so that's why I'm saying I don't think you're being particularly consistent.
For the record.
I'm sorry, was Hutch a huge, Biden has to stay, Biden can't go anywhere, ride or die for Biden, no, we can't have nobody, no, what?
For the record, sweet Josiah, who is my boy, and I love him and he is my boy, you've heard me make the case that I actually don't think that Chuck Schumer's done a horrible job, but I think that he should resign for the health of the party.
Sure, of course.
You've heard me make that argument.
Anybody could.
1,000 times. So I've taken that exact position.
You will never hear the lefties make this argument about any of their candidates, though, ever. They have to be dragged kicking and screaming, or we need evidence of a woman who was dragged kicking and screaming to some dude's bed to get them to disavow or to disavow from anybody. We're not playing the same game. And that's by design. Remember, that's always by design. That is always by design. This is like the CIA playbook for Pisco and the soy pill. And unfortunately, even Josiah here, this is disruption 101 is to infinitely virtue signal and infinitely tone police and infinitely get people to discuss the nuances and the exceptions and blah, 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 in order to make it so it's impossible to make any progress.
Jeffries, I don't think, is a factor in the way that people are equating with Schumer, but I do think Schumer is a perceived liability, and so he should step aside.
Well, I understand that you say he should resign, and I have heard you say that, but do you think that Democrats should be campaigning against him? Should Democrats, so for example, you would support Democrats saying, I will not vote for Chuck Schumer to be Senate Majority Leader?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, and likewise with House leadership too, right?
Yeah,
if you saw polling indicating that Hakeem Jeffries is very...
If I saw polling that made me think that Jeffries was a liability.
How popular is Hakeem Jeffries? I'm almost certain. I mean, IRI is the encyclopedia here, guys. The encyclopedia
I don't think Jeffries is a factor, and Jeffries has held the caucus together at every he's.
Hutch shouldn't even argue this. Hutch's argument here doesn't matter. Hutch would very easily say, and he basically did. He would grant that, if this guy's bad for the party, then he's got to go. That's the easiest thing. I don't even know why they're asking these questions. Or well, they're asking it to say that you're being hypocritical because you're only demanding the crazy lefties go, and not the the moderates. But I don't even understand this position. I think this is just a goofy position. I don't get it.
On the job exactly as it should be done in the last couple of years. He's done an exemplary job. as House.
But what if he costs the seats? I understand. What if two things can be true at once? Kind of like, well, hang on.
Oh, now we need data.
So wait a minute. No. See, this is no. So wait a minute. So like we use Biden as the example, right? I think everybody here agrees that Biden was the best president of our lifetimes, right? If not modern American history, right? And yet simultaneously, he was an electoral liability. These two things are not mutually exclusive. So when I tell you that Hakeem Jeffries could be an electoral liability, you hit me with, well, he does his job. Well, fuck his job, Hutch. What if he is simultaneously a competent administrator and also deeply unpopular, and because he's so tied to the Democratic establishment, he could depress voter turnout and cost the seats?
Then
I mean, if you showed me something that made a compelling argument for that, then sure. That would.
What would you need to see?
Wait, why do we need data now? You didn't need any data for the DSA.
I never said I didn't give you data. You were asking me for like, well, how much does it move the needle? I don't know, but we do know.
Why don't you just accept his vibes on this? Because I agree with you, and I agree with him that this obviously intuitionally can make us look bad. But like, to what degree does it matter? We've now spent an hour and 10 minutes talking about this. We haven't gotten to anything Trump and the fascist takeover. And the idea is like,
oh no, we haven't gotten to Trump and the fascist takeover. Another Trump bad.
All right, how much are we gonna spend time in fighting on like excising the cancer?
Who is calling for Jeffries to step down?
And who are we replacing with Jeffries? Yeah, it's funny. I wonder if they're going to answer that, because my feeling is it's probably all the extremely far left people that are calling for him to step down. And who do they want to replace him with? I don't know. Probably the most fucking extreme person they can find, right? Like, is there anybody right now in conversation as being like a serious replacement for Jeffries? There might be. I just haven't heard it.
No one is. I don't think anyone. Mamdani isn't.
No. There are people calling for Jeffries to step aside.
I'm sorry. Among like lefties and influencers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I called him to step down from leadership like last year.
Oh my god! And then the Pisco pivot to
be honest
no
with
one
you,
who cares.
I think that we could do better in terms of leadership, but I'm okay with him being the leader as opposed to Schumer. I'm with you, Hutch, that I'm more gun ho about jettisoning Schumer than I am Hakeem Jeffries. But the question is only, if it were demonstrated to you, right, that he were a liability, or if you felt that he were unpopular, or if you compared him, and let's say that Mamdani is more popular, like compare Hochul and Mamdani, would you be like, all right, we should distance ourselves from Hakeem? Would you have an issue with the candidate? Like, okay.
Yeah,
all right,
if you made him like, but I feel like I'm consistent in this, because like, you know, I use the same logic with Biden, right? Like as soon as I came to terms with the fact that like that Biden was bringing the whole party down and that he just didn't have it in him to run that campaign, you know, I was the biggest Biden stand for his entire presidency.
We're gonna test your consistency. Okay, so let's say we can provide the polling that you're looking for. Then I should spend at least as much time calling for Hakeem Jeffries to be excised from the party as DSA, right? And so should you, right? Because they're both electoral liabilities that could potentially cost the seats.
That doesn't fall, because Hutch might have like a value add on the lefty watch that he doesn't bring to bear on the Hakeem watch. So that doesn't necessarily fall.
Well, wait a minute. To the extent that they're electoral liabilities, I'm saying by the metric of them being electoral liabilities.
Would you agree? Yeah. Would you agree that we determine whether or not something is a liability on more than just polling? Like, would you agree that there are a lot more factors than just that? Okay, so like, also, I want you to look up approval ratings for every congressional leader over the last like fucking 5 decades. All right, it's a part of the job to be unpopular if you're going to be a congressional leader. Like, my understanding is there hasn't been like a popular congressional leader since probably like the fucking 60s or the 70s. Every Senate majority leader, every House majority leader is unpopular. Like every Congress is unpopular. It's baked in. The question is like, how salient of an issue is like Hakeem Jeffries being House Speaker?
How salient of an issue is Daria Liza being a member of Congress?
It's not just her. It's the whole collection of them and like what they're bringing to the party. And you know, I already Josiah, you already agreed that like having, and I don't even think you disagreed, Pisco, that having people like DSA co-chairs go on Fox News and do their thing is probably
it can only possibly hurt. They can only possibly hurt the Democratic Party.
Help ever. Yes. It won't help. I just think no one will care about this in 10 hours.
What if it gives Democrats a chance to show that they're not that? Like Hakeem Jeffries gets asked about it and says, there's your example. We ain't that.
No, they can't. Nobody can do that. Nobody's doing that. You guys who are YouTubers won't even do that. Why would you expect Hakeem Jeffries to do that? That's the issue. This is what's so frustrating. If people could provide any pushback at all, let alone adequate pushback against some of these like super subversive elements, then I wouldn't give a fuck. They would be the easiest whatever question. Somebody's like, why shouldn't we talk about lefties? No. We what do you mean? We know we're not the lefties, right? Our leadership is very clear on that. Like, I don't give a fuck about these. These are just like worthless Republican attacks on us. We're not going to define ourselves based on conservative attacks on us. But when nobody can say anything, now it makes me wonder. That's scary.
He's been saying it over and over the last couple of days. There's 215 of us in the House, and those are like 3 people, man. So we have a much bigger group of people that don't feel like that. And
just get ready for wall-to-wall coverage of DAC when the next Congress is sworn in, okay? Because they're gonna do to her what they did to AOC times 10. Because
they have AOC like tabs on like Fox News, right? Like they never stopped. And yes, she moderated, but like this wall-to-wall coverage is just constant. That's why every single Republican knows who she is.
Well,
and when AOC was attacking the party more, it was bad for us. It wasn't good. And then she stopped, and that was good.
How much is that depressing voter turnout for Democrats? How much is that making independents vote against her? I don't know, but like, is that the metric we're going to use of how much time we're dedicating to this? Like, should we be talking about? Should we have the DSA tab on the Lib Learn website and constantly be shitting on her? Like it's not a question of whether or not it can hurt. I think that's obvious. All right, everyone here agrees, right? You go up on Fox News and say, let's get rid of the American military, and I just read the site, get rid of every overseas military base. That's fucking insane. Obviously, that is going to hurt us. Okay, to what degree should we be focusing on that? That is what we're all questioning, and that's why you need to quantify. Like, hey, am I dedicating more than half of my airtime to shitting on these people when I'm not even highlighting how bad the fascist takeover is, which should be the thing that's invigorating people? When Democratic polling is so low that like I think 1 in 10 Democrats say positive things about their party, and the main reason is that they're not fighting back. That's why these DSA people are winning at all. And it's like, okay, well now we're just shitting on them for like apparently the reasons that people like them. Right?
That's actually a really good point. That's a really good point. Not Hakeem Jeffries is actually worse than DSA because not only could he cost the seats to Republicans, he's costing moderates their seats to DSA. The reason people are electing DSA candidates is because they're bringing the fight.
It's so tortured, right? Like your brother is definitely the one at fault, and he shouldn't have lost his arms. And it's like it's so tortured.
Oh my God, Hutch, we've identified it. I expect it. I expect a manifesto against Hakeem Jeffries before I make one goddamn video about DSA.
Are you seriously making the case right now that you think like Hakeem Jeffries is not fighting this administration?
No, I think he's doing everything in his limited power.
Regardless
for
of whether
purposes.
he is, though, is the perception that the Democratic Party is not.
Wait, is there a way to pause these requests until there's like enough? Like I don't want to be launching a rocket every 2 seconds, or I guess the rockets are free, so it doesn't matter. But
fighting back enough.
Part of the reason that perception exists is because of bad, like I would say, bad faith attacks from these DSA types who are claiming that people like Jeffries could be doing more. It's all this Green Lantern shit.
Okay, yeah, but when Chuck Schumer says, guys, I wrote a strongly worded letter, that's not the DSA making him look weak. That's him making himself look weak.
I think Schumer is like an optics nightmare. And
I'll be honest with you, I'm warming up to Hakeem because he said he wanted to clean up the Supreme Court. Did you guys see that?
Yeah. I'm warming up as well.
I'm gonna become his biggest fucking defender as soon as he says let's expand the Supreme Court.
And he's trying to be diplomatic. He's like, he's been trying to make like overtures to like the Mamdani wing. Like, you can tell he probably has a lot of contempt for them, but I think he is making efforts. So
yeah. Well, I remember a year ago when Mamdani won his primary, everybody was saying Mamdani's going to sink the Democrats. They're going to use him as a boogeyman, and that did not come to fruition. So I have a feeling
it's the opposite, right, guy? He's invigorating a lot of people. He's got his little optics wins all the time. He does all the look at the kids and the pool and New York and the food and the ice cream. And you know what? He's endorsed.
It will fill a rocket before launching. No, it's not. It's launching like 5 steel plates at a time. Watch. There's 2 here.
And crazy people, and that's not good. But he's also, I think he's pushing a lot of good, messaging that is getting Dems more on board with stuff. So I don't know. It's hard to just look at this and say it's going to.
More popular than Hochul. Isn't he more popular than Hochul in New York? Isn't he more popular as a figure?
I wouldn't doubt that. I don't think most people know who Hochul is.
Yeah, New York's half the state, and then you got the upper part that's
more
conservative. But the other thing I want to bring up why I don't care about these DSA types winning is because I don't think people are voting for them for their socialist positions. Like I think probably 3% of people in their districts voted to abolish prisons and get rid of borders. They just saw people fighting, saying we can have a floor that nobody drops below, that we take care of people. It doesn't have to be like this. We got some person in here for 30 years. It's time to get some young blood in here. I think it's just these simple little things. I don't think it has anything to do with their policy platform and all that.
Especially because that's the DSA, right? That's not the candidates. The candidates say this shit, but they don't say it in the campaign trail either because they know it's fucking stupid, or they're not the co-chair who decides to go on Fox News and blast it. But like, I don't think Daria Lisa brought up abolishing prisons in her campaign.
Yeah, she gets crucified. She tries to avoid
it. Wait, so this won't request until 1,000 are available, or if I limit it by range? I forgot you could do this.
That was not part of her platform because she knows either it, like, I'm sure she still believes it. Obviously, I think Mamdani probably believes it too, but they're not campaigning on it. And that's why these voters aren't like being turned away. So if anything, is it worse to focus on it a little bit and say, okay, this is bad, but they're not doing it?
What do you think of it? Abolishing the Senate? Stupid.
It, and we can focus on how bad fascism is, or to blow it up as much as Fox News is and be like, oh my God, guys, this is so scary.
You're going to lose that fight, Soy Pill, because it's hard to tell people what to care about and what to talk about, Like,
but the voters don't care. They're
I wish you guys didn't spend 3 weeks talking about the snark Discord, but you do, and we have all these important races and all this exciting, important stuff with the Iran war, and everybody's talking about the snarker Discord. Okay, it is what it is, though, so I try to embrace it, and I say, okay, people want to talk about this or that, it's so.
Yes, people talking,
That's provocative point, which is, what's the prescription? What do you want us to do?
Like, it's annoying. Nobody wants to. Like, I don't want to, but this is where they're choosing to fight. Like, and this is what, I mean, like, in this sense, it's the snark Discord, which is cringe, and I know probably not a single person even Hutch would agree, but like I would argue the APAC thing is similarly cringe. That's our singular issue that we're testing on is whether or not you get APAC money. What? You can set minimum rocket fill on logistics requests. I think that's only from or in space. I don't think you can set that on the ground.
I asked this question last night, and you get a collection of different answers. One is like you need to kick them out, you need to excise them, and what is meant by that when we try to narrow it down is like don't endorse them or don't like support them with money or something. But at the end of the day, if the fear is Republicans, why wouldn't we support the candidate against the Republican? What is not being done that should be done? What is the prescription? Even if you agreed with this assessment, that's my question.
Well, I've already said like loosely, I think Pisco, you and Josiah, the way that you talk about them implies that a more cooperative
care about them that much.
Relationship is possible than I think is possible. So like I'm not saying I've seen people accuse you of like sweeping for tankies. I think that's ridiculous. I've never gotten that sense from you. But at the same time, like the way that I think I don't know. I don't get the sense that you appreciate the threat in the way that I do. I get the sense that you would rather see them like win elections if it means like quote unquote like more fighting, whatever that means.
Well, their votes for court expansion. What's the prescription? Would you rather them lose to the Republican? Like that's the tanky argument of like scratch a liberal fascist bleed. They'd rather like
they're not running against Republicans. This is always our go-to example. They don't run against Republicans. The only people that can beat Republicans are moderates. Those are the ones that are running against Republicans. Why do we keep using these examples?
A DSA person will lose if it means that like a MAGA person wins. Like you're not saying that, right? So like what do we do right now that they're the general candidates? If they are winning these primaries, should we distance ourselves? Should we not?
It doesn't matter what you do. They're going to win no matter what.
Pull them into more bipartisan legislation. Like should we try to make them moderate like AOC? What do we do?
Maybe
don't give them out uniforms and give them speeches.
Just maybe don't roll out the red carpet and act like this relationship can work, because it can't. It's always
being hard. Why couldn't we use them for their votes? Let's use them. I mean, IRA.
Yeah, let me just use them.
It's a situationship, Hutch. It's a situationship. It's messy. Okay, it's not a long-term relationship. Okay.
I just don't know what value they're adding.
Here,
like,
I'll tell you what
gaps are they filling?
I'll tell you. AOC is a card-carrying DSA member since 2018. I would
kicked out also, but like the old AOC is not the radical. Or the old AOC was far more radical than she was today. And I don't even know. I mean, like, even if we were to go back to that time and we were to look for things that were comparable, all the things that are comparable were also bad for Democrats. Like the defund the police hurt us. That movement hurt us. The abolish the police shit hurt us. The abolish ICE stuff in the past is probably going to hurt us if we want to abolish ICE in the future. Because now you look like you're part of the people who just don't want to do interior immigration enforcement whatsoever. That's not good.
I'd say she's very valuable to our party.
Yeah, but the reason why you're saying that is because she has distanced herself from the worst excesses of the DSA.
So the prescription then, Hutch, is let's encourage these more radical DSA people to distance themselves and have actual, get the fucking line, work with us, or we're going to Jamal Bowman you and get you out because you're voting against important legislation, right?
I think you should have Daria Lees on the show. I think you all should have Daria Lees on the show. I want to see her. I want to see her go up against the wood chipper that is fucking Hutch.
Well, I met her in real life. Maybe she remembers me, but let's see if
did you?
She doesn't what's it called? I met her through PV, right? And I don't think she's working with them anymore after that Ukraine stuff. So
if she saw you from the side, then she remembers you for sure.
Do you disagree with Guy though? Because like I just laid it out. There's a model here, and that model is get in line or we'll fuck you over in the primary next time.
Yep.
Look, will moderates call to hang Stephen Miller, Tom Homan, Hegseth, Bovino, Trump, etc. DSA might not be running against Republicans, but we need these extremists to get justice for the fascist crimes and shift the Overton window left. I'm sorry, you're retarded. The far left won't call for that, and I don't say we should hang any of these people, but the far left are not going to be campaigning on justice for the Republicans. They don't give a fuck about any of that. I don't hear them talk about any of that ever. They're never talking about that. They're talking about fucking Netanyahu. They're talking about moderate Dems are the same thing as the Republicans and the Epstein class. We're never getting the far left. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I really do hope that all these DSA types come out super hard in the next legislative session about the need to investigate the Trump admin for all their crimes and all this shit. But I don't think they will. I think at best you get both sides are doing it, and then at worst they think the Dems are just as bad as the Republicans. So those are the only people they attack because they know the Republicans won't listen. So we'll see.
Yeah, but
what's wrong with that model?
Did Jamal Bowman and Cori Bush losing their primaries disincentivize these people? No, they took that as an attack from AIPAC and the establishment and whatever.
Well, then nothing can deter them, Hutch. If that's the case, I mean, if them being primaried and losing their general re-election, then I'm not sure. In all seriousness, like joking aside, what could possibly deter them?
I think you should try to erode their credibility by making them look silly and pointing out when they act silly. You know, I think we should do that instead of saying,
wasn't that done to Bush and Bowman?
Do they not? I hear them talking about fascism all the time. When they talk about fascism, they're talking about the Democrats and the Republicans. They view us all the same. How do you guys not realize this? They say this all the time when they speak.
Yeah, let's do that.
They're talking about you, bro.
Of, like, you know, the DSA, like Josiah, when you were saying, well, you know, I saw one reply that you posted where you were like, somebody was pushing you on how crazy their platform is, the DSA platform, and you were like, well, you know, there's some things that I agree on, but it's like, you know, you could. That's
what you're saying is under no circumstances do you got to hand it to Hitler.
Yeah, in so many words, yeah, something like that. Like the fact that, you know, you might agree with them on court expansion or something like that. It's like, okay, but, you know, if their end goal is to throw the
segregation, if their end goal is segregation, or if their end goal is Jeffrey Epstein Islands, you're the guy. You're the guy who wants their votes no matter what, whether it's a segregationist or whether it's, you know.
Hutch, I don't want to see.
Like, and then it's just the ridiculous dude. Pisco has like fucked his brain on hypotheticals. Like it's pretty rare that I see somebody who engages with hypotheticals so poorly that they've actually completely destroyed their ability to understand what's going on. Like the way that he brings out hypotheticals so much to just totally avoid the point and then just miss everything is just it's wild to me. I don't know, man.
You're a vote slut. You're a vote
You're
slut.
a slut for votes.
But it's never been about, you know, whether or not I would support them versus Republicans. I of course would, barring some really extreme circumstances. But you know,
well, I think everybody here would have preferred somebody other than Daria Liza. In like,
that's Mamdani's fault. He did that shit.
He was based.
Yeah, progressive guy. Wasn't he the first undocumented immigrant to become like a sitting member of Congress?
Yep.
You know?
And chair of the Hispanic Caucus, Congressional Hispanic Caucus. Powerful guy.
Mamdani shivved him. Mamdani, they had a handshake agreement. Espaillat endorsed him, I think, in the primary. And then Mamdani was like, he promised him that he was
like, Daria Liza sends her regards, and he shanked him politically.
He did, bro. He fucking little fingered that shit.
Like they're just this is a joke now, dude. Oh my god, I feel like I see these strategies played over and over again. It drives me fucking crazy. Now, like, here's an example of the DSA guy who actually kind of fucked over the moderates a little bit, but now it's like a joke and LOL, and they send their regards and Game of Thrones, ha 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 ha. And it's like, okay.
Like, he Game of Thrones that shit. That was brutal. That was brutal politics. He's a fucking killer.
I just see it as these DSA guys have people worked up who otherwise wouldn't give a damn, and now they're going to be in the party. They're going to have to work with people. I think they'll.
DSA guys get people worked up who otherwise wouldn't give a damn. What were we going to lose that district? If it wasn't for thank God for the DSA coming in to run there, were these districts that we were planning on losing to Republicans? Like, what?
Fall in line like the squad did under Pelosi in 2019.
How much you want to moderate? I want to bet money on this. Let's bet
Hutch.
I will bet you $20 of Pisco's money that I super chat him. That wait, what's the terms of this? I have a $20 bet with Destiny that Kyle will endorse Haley Stevens if she wins.
I'm putting up this gift card for a vegan restaurant.
And then I've already predicted how I'm going to lose this bet. Well, actually, I don't know if Josiah would do this. Please probably. Kolinsky is going to not basically cover the race much at all after El Sayed loses, if El Sayed loses. And then if he's ever pushed on, well, who should we vote for in Michigan? He might say like, well, you know, you shouldn't support the Republican. And that's it. I think there's a 50-50 chance that he'll actually even tell you to vote for Stevens, because he didn't for Kamala Harris, which was a much easier decision. Otherwise, I think he'll say, oh, yeah, no, you shouldn't support the Republican there. I think that'll be it. But we'll see.
It's in Arizona, so I can't use it. All right.
Your bet is, will Daria Liza and the other DSA types vote for Hakeem Jeffries to be leader?
Okay, yeah. Hang on, let me think about that for a second. Hang on.
I really doubt that.
Let me think about that.
The squad did.
I think Daria Liza is going to be the worst. Worse than Jamal.
All right. What would be the second bet? Just out of curiosity. What else do you have in the chamber? What's next? What's next in the chamber? I'm just.
Well, I think that's.
Give me a second.
I think Hakeem will work with them. Yeah. Well, no. Here's the thing. I mean, okay, the deciding votes. You're saying, let's say there's 5 of them. Right now, there's 4 because Brad Land already said he's on board.
Yeah, and let's say the margin, it matters that they vote in line. Like I'm saying, like they might not vote for Hakeem if it doesn't matter, but I think they would vote for Hakeem if it mattered.
They'll vote for Hakeem if he gives them something. That's what AOC and them were asking for. They weren't against Pelosi being the speaker. They were just saying we need to get something. And it could have been voting on Medicare for all, like Jimmy Dore and his fellow comedians wanted, or could have been the the pay-go thing. So I think he'll offer them something. Hakeem is a smart guy. I think he's going to reach out to them. He already said he's talking to them, and I think they'll work it all out. I'm hoping they all show up on January 3rd, and it's 200 and whatever votes for Hakeem, and 0 votes against him. I really think.
Damn, I thought I was the optimist. I actually, for some reason, I had more confidence slapping cash down on Kyle, literally dragging his balls over broken glass to support Haley Stevens against Mike Rogers. I don't know if I want to take that bet with Hutch. Fuck it, I'll do it. Fuck it, Hutch. I'll take that bet. I'll take that bet with you. I'll bet you $20.
Vote for speaker.
Yeah, that they'll vote for Hakeem for speaker.
No, not they. Let's just do DSA, and I'm saying no, she will not. I think she will be the most adversarial DSA member ever elected to Congress.
She will not get on committees. They will punish her. They will fuck her shit up, man. Like she's going to be on the steps of the Capitol trying to get interviews with Pablo Reports on X or something. Like she's going to get screwed, man.
Also, I agree with this chatter. Can you make it like 1,000 so it's not boring, Josiah? We've seen you
Fuck
drop
you. No, it's
20
not
bucks
that. No.
just to be annoying to me in a chat. Okay, so
I drop money in all your chats to be annoying. Thank you very much.
Yeah, so it's not that much. Maybe. Oh, you're right. 10,000. That makes it more interesting. I agree.
Listen, I've got it. That would come out of my super chat budget. Okay.
I'm just saying. Hakeem, the leader, controls who's on what committees. He controls what bills get to the floor. And so, if you want to be a nobody and a pariah and just run your mouth on breaking points once in a while as a Congress member, you can do that. But I don't think you're going to be around for very long.
Guys,
if you don't want
did you see
other than a backbencher, there's a model for that, and that's AOC.
Did you see, speaking of breaking points, did you see the interview she did today with the independent who's challenging Adam Smith?
Not yet.
No.
Oh, God, no.
Oh, my God.
I watched the first 10 minutes. Does it get crazy?
Yes. I mean,
Great.
she's like,
Josiah, you have such good suggestions. You should do the show like this. That'd be awesome.
No.
If you I don't know. I like having you here, guys. I don't know.
Josiah's relapsing.
I am relapsing. You guys, I can't quit you. I struggle with this. Like, this is the thing. That's why I got to keep my distance. That's why I just got to drop.
People could be co-hosts.
No, I don't. Listen, no, you're not going to lure me back in. But in this particular case,
guys, I put down $1,000 that Josiah hops in without my consent in the next 2 months. All right.
No, I'm not taking that bet, and I'll tell you why. Because you all will bait me in here. You'll bait me. You'll specifically tee up a conversation to lure me in. Hutch is the master at that. Hutch is better at that than anybody.
You just come into my chat and
Yeah, I'm not saying you do it all the time. I'm saying when you want to bait me, you do it well.
Why does Hutch
and you know you do
so
it well.
much, Josiah?
Because he knows.
Josiah just likes arguing. Josiah loves arguing, and I love that about him. But he does. He really. He's fucking straight up super addicted to arguing.
So where do we land on the prescription? Just criticize DSA? Okay, great. I agree. Was that our prescription at the end of all this?
But you don't agree. I don't think you.
I criticized DSA. The other day I brought up their fucking platform and it was silly. So yes,
I mean, always have it.
It's like the same Trump language too, right? Like, of course, I don't agree with Trump. Like, I think a lot of the things he does is goofy. What is this language? There's got to be a more formal name for this type of engagement. Like, all of the gaffes are goofs. All of the like big bads are just like, like LOL, like silly. And there's like never any serious. I don't know.
Front of mind.
Just silly, Pico. Sweeping. You should say insane.
Everybody is laughing at DSA right now. Everybody is laughing at them because
Not
of that
DSA, though.
lady who went on Fox News and the guy with the John Waters mustache from New York City DSA who went on Fox News. They're not doing well. And they're
Has anybody else talked to that lady? Has she given any other
going to
interviews?
do poorly and embarrass themselves. I think it actually will knock them down a peg.
I told Hutch this earlier. Like, that lady, if she were an op, if she were somebody like hired by Fox News, how would you possibly know? Like, it was just such a bad fucking clip.
Did you guys see when the head of r/anti-work went on Fox News? It's about as bad as that. Where it's just like, well, I don't want a job, I don't want to work, I'm lazy. It's like, okay, here's literally the welfare queen. Like, this is their whole thing. So you can only do so much. They're gonna find the craziest people and put them on, and sometimes the craziest people are the heads of the fucking organization. So,
like, why is that funny? Oh, they just find the goofballs. This goofball, isn't she is it the vice chair? So would that be the second in command or the co-chair? Maybe they don't have vices because they don't believe in hierarchy. I don't know how wacky they are. But it's like, this is not just like a random person. It's not like a random person.
And what was so funny too about that clip, like it was depressingly funny. It was like darkly comedic. Was the fact that it wasn't Jesse Waters or somebody that she was talking to. It was Shannon Bream, and Shannon Bream took Chris Wallace's place, and she's supposed to be like one of the super serious straight newscasters. And you can almost like her cheeks are pink. She's flush with how happy she is.
Of course.
Okay. Yes or no? I'm asking a bunch of questions. So you want to abolish the Senate, right? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So you want to abolish the presidency? Huh? Yeah. Okay. And no prisons, right? No, that's so good. Okay. It's so funny.
Just running,
but like in a way that makes you want to Minecraft.
That's their most. For abolishing prisons, that's a long-term goal. Okay, we won't get to that right away.
And then she followed, but then Shannon followed up with, okay, so no prisons. Okay, yeah.
God. They're gonna give them a nightly spot on their programming. They're gonna invite DSA on their programming.
She's gonna get a show. The DSA chair is gonna get her own fucking show on Fox.
Good. I think
that would never happen before Fetterman gets his show first.
It's better. Let them expose themselves instead of being this like boogeyman that other people fill in with their imagination what they are. Let these idiots show their asses out there. I mean, I'm glad to see it.
This morning, Jessica Tarlov did a live stream with Scott Galloway for their Raging Moderates podcast, and I can't remember the exact quote, but she's like, "Yeah, as soon as I saw this, and I realized I would be on the 5 the next day, she goes, I was like, fuck, because this is what they're gonna hit her with. That sucks so badly."
What about like not just specific to like DSA as an organization, but sort of like the broader movement? What do you guys think of like they're really going after Pac-Man this last week? Like, what do you think of like the overall entire lefty media ecosystem, like pouncing on creators like Pac-Man? Like that.
Where's comments even that? Like, it was just like, oh, the DSA is not doing like good work. Or so it wasn't even that harsh, and that gets the entire ecosystem attacked.
I feel like I can't quite put my finger on it, but I feel like there's something else maybe going on with the Pac-Man hate. But I don't know. I'm not sure. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there might be something else going on with that. I don't know.
Attacking him, it was something like ridiculously
Like
heavy.
brigading and stuff. That's
No, but they do that. But they do that to like they do that every time. They do that constantly. They will target people. I mean, the chorus stuff is like a really good example of that.
Yep.
You know, and so I don't know. It's beyond just the politicians. But I'm just saying,
Do you hear me disagree? No, but we didn't hear you agree either. Though you didn't say anything. What the fuck?
like I don't, you know, what? Anyways,
Should we treat them like a Trojan horse? Should we treat them like a Trojan horse?
I think you should privately. I think you should privately regard them as such.
Treat who as a Trojan? They literally are. They literally are.